Fresh out the box! Fresh out the box! Fresh out the box!
Hey there, everybody! Welcome to another edition of Fresh Out the Podcast. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire. Some people call me Jahan.
Co-host Casualty CDG. You can call me Casualty CDG, and you can find me at Casualty CDG. I'm a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian.
And I am Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind, and welcome to episode 37 of Fresh Out the Podcast. We're at those numbers now where they're kind of arbitrary, and I always feel like I'm getting the number wrong or confused. But I believe that's right, episode 37.
Wow!
And we are 1 week away. A week from tomorrow is one of my favorite days of the year, which is Oscar Sunday. A day that is becoming less and less exciting for many people, many TV watchers.
Isn't that the day that Jesus won an Oscar and he came out of the cave and resurrected? He got the golden statue and ascended to heaven?
And then the boulder chased him.
You've somehow managed to combine Easter Sunday and Oscar Sunday, but I can see how that would be something that would easily happen.
That's an easy mix-up. Yeah, that's on me.
It's also time for the Persian New Year. So, Happy New Year to all my Persian brethren.
Is that when Persian Jesus came out of the cave and moved the rock to go shoot
fun fact,
fireworks?
regular Jesus is Persian Jesus.
And then he shot fireworks and then ate shawarma?
You know, that veered into a negative direction, but I'll allow it.
Thank you.
I would also like to mention that Gary, the entire time Drew was talking, was making the face that I can only describe as that of a cartoon turtle.
I have been trying to practice my smile. And
Okay, Drew, sorry. Take it away about Oscar Sunday.
Boy, I was trying to dive straight into the topic, and you guys were doing everything you could to make that not happen. No, we're a week out from the Oscars. I've been talking about the Oscars for weeks and weeks leading up to it with just different things I've been watching and kind of, talking about the nominations, so on. And now that we're a week out, I was wanting to just go through and do some really quick final predictions in just the big categories before the award show. We actually we'll have an episode that goes up the day of the Oscars that'll just be kind of our what we've been watching catch up. But I might do a quick Oscars reaction after the actual ceremony. But for now, I just wanted to get those last minute predictions in before the show. And the way I was going to do it for you guys, because all of you I know are clamoring to hear what I think, I'm just going to go through the 8 big categories and say, the what I think will win and the what I would prefer to win. Because there's definitely a difference in most categories.
I watched Coda because you said so.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'm scared to ask what you thought.
I liked it.
Good.
Yeah, no,
Good.
It was really good. It was great. The performances were a lot of fun. Every time her dad was on screen, he totally stole the show, and he was like, I loved him. I don't know why, but I would watch that guy in everything.
And I'll talk about him more in a little bit when I get to the supporting actor category.
Get out of here making me watch these good movies.
Yeah, look at the puppy.
For adapted screenplay, the nominees are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. And right now, I'm leaning still towards the powerhouse of the Oscars. Right now, it seems like The Power of the Dog is kind of the big Oscar movie to beat this year, and so I'm gonna guess that The Power of the Dog wins. But if I had to pick one, I think I would love for Coda to win.
Did he?
I saw a little bit of Power of the Dog.
What happened to Jahan in Power of the Dog? Because I feel like I also watched a little bit. And
my parents wanted something to watch, and I was there with Jen, and we watched for a while we were eating, but then, we wanted to play a board game or something. We could hear stuff going on. And it was just, it was a weird, boring cowboy story where Benedict Cumberbatch did an American cowboy impression that was not good in my opinion.
Yeah, that was not good. That
He
was weird and
sounded
boring.
so weird.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I guess there's parts of it that are interesting, but you know,
I forgot that I
So-
watched some of that horrible, weird, strange Benedict Cumberbatch cowboy movie. That was probably going somewhere, but I was not on board.
if I wanted
So
to
I'll-
watch Benedict
yeah.
Cumberbatch masturbate into a handkerchief, I would just go to the Denny's off of 35th. That's where he does
let
that.
me go on a Power of the Dog tangent because I actually rewatched it. I've seen it twice now all the way through, and these were both, watches where I was sitting in a dark room watching the movie with no distractions. So like I was fully invested both times, and I will say, the Power of the Dog is getting a lot of attention from, of course, the film industry and critics and everything. It's very well liked. That being said, I also liked it a lot. I actually, on second watch, have concluded that I do think it's a masterpiece. I think it's amazing. I think the performances are incredible, and I have notes on some of the things that y'all are saying. But that being said, I would not recommend The Power of the Dog to any of my friends. It's not one that you're like, yeah, you should, hey buddy, did you just finish watching, Transformers and Spider-Man? Like, yeah, you should turn on Power of the Dog. No, it's not that kind of movie.
God.
This is kind of a movie for cinephiles, I think. I've watched every Jane
bad.
Campion movie now, the one who directed it, and I think that this is her best work. I think that this is deserving of all the praise. I think that y'all's notes about Benedict Cumberbatch's performance, I think it's his best performance that he's ever done. And also, the movie...
Have you seen Sherlock, though?
The movie is all about masculinity and
Yeah.
putting on a front and putting on an act. And there's subtle things in the movie that you watch where Benedict Cumberbatch's character is a scholar. He went to Yale. He all these things, but yet he's taken this life on the ranch. That's what he wants to do. So I feel like everything about him is putting up an act in the movie. His character is putting up an act. So I understand I'll be realistic. There are some things with his accent, like his British accent and trying to be American, and he kind of over pronunciates words or the vowels have kind of a strange sound the way that he draws them out. There definitely are some things there, but I think as far as his character and what he's doing, when you've seen it a few times and you can really peel back the layers of that onion, I think that what he's doing is incredible. So
yeah, I mean, his character was definitely interesting, and definitely a great picture of being toxic. Watching him interrupt Kirsten Dunst playing the piano until she cries is interesting. I don't know. I
feel like if I first of all, I have to go back. If you know any friends that are watching Transformers, you should unfriend them because that.
I don't know why that's what came to mind. I'm sorry. I apologize.
And if anyone
for that.
is watching Spider-Man and feels like you've been lumped in with Transformers fans, I feel like that's not what Drew was trying to tell us. Also, if I watch a Western I'm looking for some kind of a Western story, right? Maybe what I'm not looking for is a Yale scholar playing outlaw. That's just not the kind of Western story I want to see. I want to see like the vengeance story. I want to see all the Western tropes, I guess. And that's just not particularly a Western story that I feel like I related to or was very interested in. I like Westerns. I just don't really want to see a Western about a guy from Yale playing outlaw. And I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch... sure, maybe he nailed the role. It's just I don't think I cared about the movie.
Okay. Well, I wanted to get that out of the way before, because Power to Dog, I think, is going to be, the hot topic of the Oscars, because right now it kind of seems like it's at the top, but it also hasn't been winning a lot of the awards leading up, so it's very possible it could get overlooked. I don't know. There are times in Oscar history where there's a movie that seems like it's going to steamroll, and then it ends up not getting very many awards at all. So I mean, that is a thing that happens. I do think right now it would be the front runner to win adapted screenplay. I would love it if Coda won. I've been singing that movie's praises all year.
Yeah, I really liked Coda, and Coda has a bonus. It's got lots of singing, and white people love singing, so they may just vote for it.
For original screenplay, Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World. I think that it looks like Licorice Pizza might be the one that's awarded here. This is a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. And honestly, of these picks, it would be between Licorice Pizza and King Richard for me to win the Oscar. So Licorice Pizza, that's fine with me. I'll put my I'll stand behind it. For supporting actress, you've got Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, Ingenue Ellis for King Richard. It's looking like Ariana DeBose is going to win this for West Side Story. She's been sweeping all the awards up to this point. If it's kind of hers to lose.
So I actually really liked Kirsten Dunst's performance in Power of the Dog. For everything negative I had to say about that movie, none of it was her. She has done a great job, and she could be in any Western. She absolutely crushed it. She totally felt the part. It was good to see her again in something, because I'm not really a Kirsten Dunst fan, and I think Power of the Dog might have changed my mind a little bit on that.
I'm in total agreement. If I had to pick one to win, my favorite, it would be either Kirsten Dunst or Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter. But I love Jessie Buckley, and she's like kind of an up-and-coming actress who's been in I'm trying to think of what she's been in that's mainstream. Honestly, not too much yet, but she was in a movie called Wild Rose a few years ago that I really liked. But she'll be in more stuff coming out. But yeah, Kirsten Dunst is great. Her performance is pretty subdued, would you say?
Yeah.
Power of the Dog?
Yeah, I completely
in a really
agree.
good way.
Also, on the note of West Side Story, I bet you can guess what happened with that movie when I watched it.
Turned it off.
Yeah, Johannes right. I made it all the way to like the second musical act, and I was like, nope, that's it. No, thank you. I really like it without all the singing and fucking dancing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, considering it's a musical and one of the most famous musicals of all time, probably not for you then.
No. Again, not for me.
For supporting actor, we've got Kieran Hines for Belfast, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jesse Plemons, The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons being the Ricardos, Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. Early on in the season, it seemed like Cody Smith-McPhee was the front runner to win for The Power of the Dog, and I think he is very good in that movie too. Especially if you get through to the end and how powerful his performance is kind of after the story has concluded. However, Troy Kotsur for Coda, who plays the dad in Coda, has been winning a lot of the awards leading up to this. You know, he won the Screen Actors Guild Award. He's won a lot of the Critics Awards. He would be my pick to win. And it kind of seems like now he has some momentum and could very well be the one taking home Oscar gold. He's been in Hollywood for forever. But I mean, he's a deaf actor. And so I hate to say he's limited in what he can do, but I mean, he has been up to this point, and he finally gets this huge breakout role, and I think it's very possible he gets rewarded here, and I'm kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He stole the show. He was the best character in Coda.
He's absolutely the MVP of that movie, and there's a scene that involves him and his daughter in the movie in the back of a truck, like towards the latter half of the movie that just when I rewatched that movie, that moment was like, oh man, it hit me both times I saw it, but the second time even more so.
That was kind of dare I say that's the climax of the movie.
Yeah, I would agree. That's that's the kind of one of the emotional high points, I would say. It's a big turning point. But yeah, he's so good. He actually was involved in the Book of Boba Fett. Troy Kotsur was. He worked on the Tusken Raider, like sign language and their communication and stuff. I thought that was awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what you're saying is I have to go watch Coda now.
I would highly recommend it.
I think maybe everybody should watch Coda. That's a good one.
Definitely a good one you can watch with your family as well.
Good'n. That's what they say, John, is a good'n.
Good.
There you go. It's a good'n.
Best actress, we got Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. It's kind of seeming like Jessica Chastain's going to take this one home. She won the SAG Award. Seemed to be a big indicator. This is the award that's probably the most up in the air. Early on in the award season, it seemed like Kristen Stewart was the front runner. She didn't even get nominated for the SAG Award, that's what Jessica Chastain won. And when Kristen Stewart wasn't nominated for that, people thought Nicole Kidman was the front runner, and it's like a game of hot potato with this one. And so I'm going to stick to Jessica Chastain as the one who will win, considering her previous wins. But if I had to pick one to win, either Kristen Stewart for Spencer or Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter would be my pick as far as favorites go.
I don't mean to correct you on the pronunciation, but I believe it is Penelope Cruz, actually.
You made me really self-conscious for a second there, because I get worried I'm going to mispronounce, and
Penelope.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, no problem. Penelope Cruz.
Best actor, it's barely even worth going through everyone. Javier Bardem, Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Will Smith, Denzel Washington. Will Smith's going to win. He's been winning everything up to this point. He's been the front runner the entire season. If he didn't win, it would be a complete shock. But I would imagine if Will Smith doesn't win, Benedict Cumberbatch would win. Perhaps. But I think it's Will Smith, and I'll put my chips behind Will Smith too, because just give the guy an Oscar. He's been wanting one for so long. He's a staple of Hollywood. He's one of our last huge movie stars we have. Like, just give him the Oscar.
That's the spirit.
Best director, we've got Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. I'm gonna butcher it. Raisuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, Steven Spielberg for West Side Story, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. She's had all the momentum. I'd be shocked if she doesn't win. She's the first woman to be nominated for Best Director twice. She lost to Steven Spielberg previously when he won for Schindler's List, the year that The Piano was nominated. And I think this year she'll win for The Power of the Dog. So there it is. And that'd be probably my pick to win too. I think she's a solid winner. Best Picture, Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story.
Dune.
Again, The Power of the Dog seems to be the front runner. However, Coda's been winning a lot of the Critics' Choice Awards, and it won the Best Ensemble Award from the SAG Awards. However, it's worth noting Power of the Dog wasn't even nominated in that category. So it does seem like The Power of the Dog is the front runner to win, but there's a chance Coda could sneak up on it and take it home. It's such a crowd pleaser that I feel like Coda is a great Best Picture winner, because if you think of all the people that will see that Coda won Best Picture and go, oh, I guess I have to check that out, and go, get a free trial to Apple TV Plus or whatever so they can watch it, I don't think they're going to be disappointed. It's such a crowd pleaser. It's has very wide appeal.
On that note, if you're listening to our show and you don't have Apple Plus, we don't get paid by Apple Plus for selling you memberships. But if you get Apple Plus, then do yourself a favor and watch Ted Lasso also. We have praised it in the past, so if this is your first time getting it, you've got that free trial, you might as well watch Coda and get you some Ted Lasso under your belt.
Yeah, definitely don't rebel against the system and pirate stuff. That would be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad. Don't do that.
So anyway, those are final Oscar picks for me in those categories. Also worth noting, I rewatched Dune. I kind of keep forgetting that Dune's nominated for all these Academy Awards, and I think it's going to win a lot of the technical ones.
Yeah.
Production design and visual effects and sound and that kind of stuff, I think is kind of Dune's to take. But man, it's still good. Rewatched it again. I watched it on the 4K disc at home. I know it's on HBO Max. I still went and bought the physical edition of the movie.
Is it on HBO Max?
It is. It's back on it now.
I was gonna say they took it down. I was gonna watch it again.
You remember
It is back.
when you were a kid and you'd go to like the poster section in Walmart and flip through all the movie posters and the celebrity posters?
Man,
And
I
stuff?
forgot about that part of life altogether. But yes,
So that's almost what Dune felt like to me, was just flipping through all of these awesome movie posters for Dune, and you just flip through like 100 and then Dune's over. So I totally agree. Dune does have this awesome visual. I remember it as being movie posters, nonstop awesome movie posters.
yeah.
Yeah, where I don't remember that about Coda. And I don't remember that about Power the Dog.
Dune is so visually stunning. Like just watching it again, like all these places feel like real and tangible. And how did they even do this? There's all the new casting news coming out for part 2. Florence Pugh's been added to the cast. Austin Butler's been added to the cast. There's some exciting stuff happening. That movie is going to be, oh man, hot fire, as John would say.
It's got that greasy stuff.
It'll be screaming lava.
Well, moving on away from the Oscars to Pixar, because last week, Turning Red, the most recent Pixar movie, was dropped on Disney Plus. It's the third Pixar movie in a row to make its debut on Disney Plus, a decision that has made a lot of Pixar employees not very happy. It is a thing that I think makes consumers happy because, they have it at home to watch day one, and parents probably watched it, had kids that watched it 2 or 3 times in the first weekend it was available, something they can't do when it's in theaters. So, I won't get into all those controversies, but
I was actually thinking about that very thing, about how, right, it's not going in movies, so you don't need to talk about how awesome and high your movie sales are for it. But what it is doing is bringing people to Disney Plus, which is a new medium that you weren't spending money on 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, right? Disney owns it. It's pulling in fans. It's keeping fans here. And you don't have to go to the theater for Disney to get your money. So I see what they're doing, and I can see why Pixar employees would be pissed, but I get it. I totally get it. It's your expendable movie money is still going to Disney's pocket at the end of the day, and they're still paying Pixar.
Yeah.
And I don't think it does anything to tarnish the Pixar name. I think that Pixar's name in our minds comes with a certain level of quality. Like there's one thing when it's a Disney animated movie, but when you hear, oh, it's a Pixar movie, you go, oh, so that means it has to be good. At least that's kind of what my interpretation has always been. And I don't think that it going straight to Disney Plus removes that at all. I still feel that way. Oh, it's a new Pixar movie, I have to watch it.
Yeah, I hold Pixar to a different standard. The other day, I saw that Ice Age was on Disney Plus, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. Disney owns the Ice Age IP now. I wonder if this is good." And it was a brand new movie, 2022, and I turned it on and got like 15 minutes in, and it's like an Ice Age direct to TV. It's awful. The writing is bad. The characters are bad. The voice acting is bad. And in Pixar, that's right. I hold them to a higher standard. I expect that kind of crap from Ice Age. I expect that kind of crap from Disney.
Yeah.
But Pixar is something else entirely.
Turning Red, in particular, has been making a lot of headlines for a lot of reasons.
You've got
straight to Disney Plus stuff with the employees and so on. You've also got the that kind of outraged parent. Outraged may be a little hyperbolic to say, but there's been a lot of blowback.
There's a large swath that are outraged. That's the correct word, I guess.
Because there's a lot of themes of it's not just coming of age, but direct, references to puberty and things there. And I think that a lot of parents who are watching with their kids just weren't expecting to maybe have to have a conversation. Which, I mean, I don't think there's anything bad about a movie sparking conversation, but I guess if there's a parent who's not ready for it or they don't think it's the right time, that should be up to every parent to make their own decision, I suppose. But I'm not going to get into that too much, obviously.
Yeah, you don't want to get into that too much. I feel like
a lot of Disney movies touch really sensitive topics like dead parents and dead grandparents and moving on and closure and things like that. So, I mean, if you're ready to talk to your kid about death, I don't know, maybe you should be ready to talk to them about puberty and stop being, I don't know. Maybe you should reevaluate yourself as a person if you can't talk about puberty with somebody.
I agree.
I also. Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, so, yeah, there is a lot of outrage. A lot of the outrage is silly, though. Some of it is about very specific things. You were talking about, it's not just a mention of puberty. A lot of parents were angry at, like, her drawing that boy is like a mermaid, and they were like, it's like sexualization, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know, like, it's just showing, I mean, that's normal, it's showing a normal thing that kids do. And I think it's a good thing for them to be exposed to. I don't know. Like, over-sheltering has a lot of negative consequences. I feel like it's good that something is having this conversation. Because, like, I like Big Mouth for a very similar reason. But at the same time, I don't know how old I want my kids to be when they watch that show. You know what I mean? That's kind of, like, pretty extreme. This is pretty mild. And it only touches on the topics,
So the thing also with this movie is, I actually liked Turning Red a lot.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't have a child that's old enough to watch it and understand, really what's happening. So that's not something I have to worry about. I watched it with my wife. We both enjoyed it. But when I relayed that to Gary, we mentioned it in a chat. Gary was not high on this movie. Gary seemed to be pretty annoyed with it off the bat. And we had very different opinions, and it kind of got us into a whole conversation about ranking Pixar movies and such, which I thought would be a really great opportunity for us to do our own fresh out the podcast definitive Pixar rankings that we have to come to an agreement on. But before we get to that, if we want to talk, Gary, do you want to say your piece about Turning Red?
I didn't finish the movie, right? Let's just start there. Let's start by saying I didn't finish it. So,
but not due to lack of time or anything like that. You were just not liking this movie to the point where
really
you turned it
didn't
off.
like the characters, all of them, any of them. I was just really annoyed with the cast. And that's the reason I turned it off. I thought it looked good. I thought it was entertaining. I was just annoyed by the main characters. And I didn't finish the movie. So I don't even know if my complaints are valid. I was just kind of annoyed by the movie. And I watched it with my wife, and she was annoyed too. And we looked at each other, and we were like, pass on this one, and we watched something else. In fact, we watched Ron's Gone Wrong, which is another Disney animated movie, but not Pixar, but we enjoyed that one quite a bit.
I think that was one of the Fox acquisitions as well. I think that was like a Fox movie that Disney acquired and distributed. So it's on Disney Plus and on HBO Max now.
That animated?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like if you had a little tiny Baymax that was also your iPad and your phone and your tablet and your entire link to the world. And so all these kids have this huge disconnect with society, and it's a movie sort of about technology and disconnecting kids. It's a lot of fun. The main character's got a broken one, and it's his adventure. We enjoyed it a lot. I might even watch it again someday. Plus, I'm a huge fan of Baymax, and I don't know why it gave me Baymax vibes.
I watched Ron's Gone Wrong 2 a few weeks ago, and I actually did really like it. I thought it was good. It was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Jahan, you watched Turning Red?
I watched Turning Red, yeah. I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, it wasn't like my number one Pixar movie or anything, but it was good. It was definitely a good watch. Jenny put on the Four Town songs in the car earlier today when we were on our way somewhere. And it was funny, and it was a good time. I like a lot about it. I enjoy the whole puberty aspect. I think it's a good thing. When I was a young boy, I didn't realize that girls also went through a monstrous transformation. And,
when he was a young warthog.
When I was a young... Yeah. I didn't realize. I thought that, I was just a stinky, smelly boy. And that nothing was going on with the girls. I didn't know that they were doing a thing, too. And, it would have been good information, I think, to have, a little more insight. Obviously, I'm aware now, but I think that's a good thing for kids. It normalizes things. You know what I mean? They mentioned like tampons and pads and stuff in a pretty healthy way, I think. And I don't know. But beyond that, the characters, I like the characters. I liked that they were like, I thought they were funny. The purple one, because they all wore like one color, you know. The purple one was funny. She's very just all like bouncing off the walls. I enjoyed the rainbow of their friendship. You know, they were all different ethnicities. Thought that was pretty cool. There was a brown girl, you know, front and center. And it's important. I like it. I don't just like it because of the reputation. I thought that the premise was cool. I liked that they had a family curse. I liked that they had to fight against it. And I liked that they all came to like that understanding at the end and like live their lives. It was cool.
Well, perfect. I'm not going to do a whole lengthy discussion a la what we did for the Batman, but I just wanted to, note that we've all watched it, and that goes, we'll transition into our Pixar rankings here. And here's what I'm going to do. This is my plan. I have 3 tiers set up.
Okay.
So what we will do...
That's a lot of crying, Drew.
Through...
You should get some L'Oreal Kids no tiers, and that will solve your crying problem.
There are 25 Pixar movies.
There are 25 Pixar movies, so I'm going to go through each one, and we will agree off the bat if it goes into Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. That's the first step.
That does help.
And then we will go through tier by tier and organize those movies to create our definitive rankings. Does that sound good to you guys?
It sounds terrible.
So we will go in order of release with these. So first, we have Toy Story.
Ooh.
Top tier.
Tier 1.
Toy Story is going Tier 1, right? No question.
No question.
Just making sure. A Bug's Life.
Also Tier 1 for me.
Oh, see, I'm thinking like
Second
Tier 3.
tier.
Second
wow.
tier.
I love The Bug's Life.
We all pick different tiers. All right, so second tier it is.
Yeah, if Jahan says 1, I say 3, Gary says 2, then it goes 2, right?
That's 2, right? That's fair.
Okay, Bug's Life goes in Tier 2.
Who said 3?
Drew did.
I said 3.
You can lick a doorknob. You.
Toy Story 2.
Middle tier.
Yeah, probably 2.
2. I would say 1.
I like it though.
But I'm high on all the. For me, all the Toy Story movies are Tier 1. But if 1 goes into Tier 2, it would be this one.
I agree, but I could put it into Tier 3 and then slide it up later.
I actually really liked the whole Toy Barn freaky collector Al. I liked all of it. I like Newman. I like the the I'm your father jokes. All that.
I didn't like
it was
any
funny.
of the new main characters that were added to the cast. I didn't feel like they did a whole lot for the team.
I'll put it in Tier 2 for now. Is everybody comfortable with that?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Monsters, Inc.
Tier 1.
Tier 1, baby.
Yeah, I'm Tier 1. Finding Nemo.
Very good movie. Probably Tier 2 for me.
I actually liked Finding Dory more, believe it or not. So I'll put Nemo in Tier 2.
I'll say Tier 2 as well. I liked the first one better than Finding Dory, so I would.
What are we
we'll
gonna
get to
do
it, but I think Finding Dory
if we haven't
Tier
seen
3.
it? Do we just not vote that?
I guess have you not seen Finding Nemo?
No, I've seen Finding Nemo. I know it's coming up.
Okay,
There's some movies
we'll
on
get
here I
to
haven't
it.
seen. Okay.
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles.
I'd say Tier 1.
Tier 1. Yeah, I would say Tier 1.
Yeah, I actually really liked The Incredibles.
I love The
The
Incredibles.
Incredibles 2 was not good.
I like The Incredibles too, but
We'll
we'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Cars.
Didn't see it.
Tier 3.
Good. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we were younger, Cars would be Tier 2 for us, but I'm going to agree just because of our age.
Yeah, I think that honestly, I could almost go ahead and put all the Cars movies in Tier 3 as far as I'm concerned.
There's something
but
lower than Tier 3. Yeah.
we'll
I
wait
mean-
till we get to them, I suppose.
They have one common denominator, and that's Larry the Cable Guy.
Remember that moment in time when Larry the Cable Guy was a thing?
Get her done. Yeah, I remember.
Dare I say, I have seen Larry the Cable Guy live in concert. I was in
was
junior
there.
high. Yep, we had gotten tickets with our friend Nick, and we went to a Larry the Cable Guy concert. Also, just a few short years later, a Larry the Cable Guy movie came out in which moon pies played a big part of the plot. And I saw that in theaters too. I have nothing but regrets for the waste of time spent consuming Larry the Cable Guy.
Well, on that. Ratatouille?
2.
Love it. Tier 1, baby.
I'd say tier 1 as well.
All the way to the
You were
top.
Fine.
outvoted. Wall-E.
1.
Tier 1, all the way to the top.
Wally's
Agreed.
really good.
You're unanimous. Up.
I'm gonna warn you about this
Tier
one.
1.
If it's not a 1, I'm gonna fight you. Tier 1.
Yeah,
Gary,
tier
you
1.
said 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, all the way to the top.
You better say 1, Drew. Cut you.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3, I would also put in tier 2.
Ooh, I would put it 1. Jahan?
It's the one where they're like almost incinerated, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll put it in tier 1.
Going in
First
1.
time I saw it, I was very drunk, but yeah,
Cars 2. It's definitely going tier
tier
3.
3. Yeah, I haven't seen
There
it.
should probably just be a Cars tier at the bottom, to be honest.
Well, the next one I would also say tier 3. Brave.
I would give that a 2.
Brave is so forgettable, but it's not
I liked
bad. I swear I've seen Brave 2 or 3 times and just don't fucking remember.
I like.
To be fair, I don't think the Cars movies are bad either. Like, they're fine. They're better than
Yeah.
your average
Yeah,
animated
we're
movie,
rating
but for
in
Pixar.
within like the realm of
Yeah.
Pixar. So
So I would definitely say Brave tier 3.
I would
Is that-
say
is- am I gonna
would
get
say
pushed back?
2, but it looks like Jahan's with you.
no, I said 2.
You said 2? Okay, let's put it in 2 then.
Put it in 2.
Okay, I'll put it in 2. Wow, I'm surprised. I'm surprised for the Brave support.
I like
here.
Brave.
Yeah. Yeah.
It broke the mold a little bit, you know. She's the other Disney princess.
Mhm.
Monsters University.
I really liked
2.
Monsters U, but it was no Monsters Inc.
I would say 2. I liked it as
I
well.
agree.
Yeah, we're gonna throw it in the 2 category. And
Okay.
to be honest, that's even something I could have seen on the Disney Channel back in the day. That almost feels like something that's tier 3.
I'm fine putting it in tier 3. Honestly, I like Monsters University.
You
but
guys can drop it down. That's fine.
Yeah, let's put it
Okay.
down there.
let's do that so that Cars 1 and Cars 2 aren't feeling too alone right now.
Was that all that was in tier 3? That's funny.
Yeah,
I told you there should just be a Cars tier.
it's true. Inside Out.
It's been a minute. I remember really liking it, but like in hindsight, I feel like I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah, I also really like it. It's just not my favorite. The way it looks really isn't my favorite. I'm gonna give it a 2.
I would have
like
said 1, but I'm fine putting it in 2. I'm not. This is one that I feel like there's a lot of critics, people out there that would fight you over that on this one. Like I think there are people that would rank this as their number 1 Pixar
And
movie.
That's okay.
That's okay.
But I'm with y'all. Like, I'm fine. I think it's very good.
I think it's very good
But,
too.
I think
we can
it's
put it.
very good, but again, we were talking earlier about
I
how
know.
we hold Pixar to a certain standard.
Yeah.
There is some kind of graphic standard I hold them to, and some kind of visual standard. And Inside Out didn't do that for me. It was just a lot of bright colors and a lot of meta space.
You know,
and so
I
well, that's
almost
fine.
I almost feel like I'm being reserved with my tier 1 Rex. I don't know. Inside Out was really good. And when like the imaginary friend like sacrifices himself, that's pretty intense. We'll keep it at 2. 2's good.
Okay. The Good Dinosaur.
Never saw it.
Gary?
So I was talking to Annie about this, my wife, and she says that we've seen The Good Dinosaur. That's
Tier
all I've
3.
got.
Sounds like
Yeah,
Captain.
That's all I've got for you. We've seen it. I've seen it, I think. Yeah.
Finding Dory.
I really liked Finding
I
Dory.
did not see Finding Dory.
I'm not even kidding you. I'm not a big fan of Ellen
Wait,
DeGeneres.
did I?
But I did really like it.
No, I don't
I'm
think
gonna
I
give
did.
this one. I'm not even kidding, Drew. This is going tier 1 for me. Nemo's tier 2. Dory's tier 1 for me. Gary Appinger.
And I would say tier 3 for this one.
So it sounds like
If
it's
you're
going
saying-
in tier 2.
Yeah, if you're saying 1 and I'm saying 3, are you willing to meet in the middle and put it in tier 2?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not gonna fight you over an animated Ellen DeGeneres fish movie.
Okay, Cars 3. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in tier 3.
Yep. Didn't see it. Not a Cars. Not interested in Cars.
Next is Coco.
Tier 1.
I like Coco. Yeah,
Tier 1.
I'd also say
maybe-
tier 1.
maybe tier 2 for me, but it sounds like you guys got it.
Looks like tier 1's going to be a little heavier than the others, but that's fine.
Some of the music came on the radio today, and I was like, man, this shit's a bop.
Incredibles 2.
Tier 2.
Tier 3,
Oh, I'm
Oh.
saying 2.
all the way to the bottom with that one for me.
I liked it.
Really? I loved Incredibles 2.
I liked it.
I hated Incredibles 2. I loved the first Incredibles. I think that they almost killed that IP with that movie.
I would
Uh,
definitely be interested to see an Incredibles 3. I'd be so hyped.
I'd like to see them do more that is not based on that family.
They just released a new Disney Villainous board game expansion that has Syndrome as one of the playable villains.
That is sick.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4.
Tier 1.
I agree. John?
What happens in this one?
This is the most recent one where Bo Peep is prominent. Where
Right. That's all. Yeah, that's all you had to say. Bo Peep. Bo Peep is rocking it. Yeah, tier 1.
There's some horrifying ventriloquist dummies in this movie.
Yeah, tier 1. It was a good one. I really liked Key and Peele.
Yeah, they were great.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's really
There's
funny.
the bunny, and the
They were carnival
duck.
toys. Yeah, it was funny.
Onward
Son of a bitch. 1.
3.
Wow.
I like Onward. It's 3 for me. Gary?
I feel strange about Onward. Let's put it in 3.
Oh no.
Oh, I didn't know you.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to side with me. Wow.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people would think I would like Onward.
I liked Onward a lot.
It's our realm, right? Because it's kind of the D&D Pixar movie, and I think it's very good. But I haven't revisited it. I thought it was fine.
I liked it a lot.
As much as I love fantasy, that fantasy realm, right? We live in it, we eat it and breathe it. I think they did a pretty piss poor job doing
Oh
it.
wow.
And it's Pixar, and they could have done so much more and so much better. But the quest to me just seemed so bleh. Some of the mundane stuff was a lot of fun, like the Manticore, but other things on the quest felt really uninspired and bad. Okay,
Just
I'm
to
done.
date it, because
Done
it is kind
shitting
of
on it.
it is kind of weird in hindsight. It's the last Pixar movie to be released in theaters.
Ooh, I did not see it in theaters.
So Onward caused COVID, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's the assumption you want to make. What am I to tell you now?
I
Hey.
don't think it sounds like you're stretching at all, Jahan.
Drawing lines between completely unrelated things is really fun. So
Alrighty. Soul.
I literally just watched this before we streamed, and I liked it. I liked it a lot.
First time watch for you?
First
You had
time.
not seen it before?
I had not seen it before. I'd always meant to watch it. It looked really good. I misunderstood what it was about. I thought it was going to be like reincarnation and stuff. And I was like, Like, I didn't really care. It's good. It's really good. I think maybe 1. It might be a 2 though. I'm
Soul
on
is
the
a
fence.
definite 1 for me. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies. I love it.
It was really good.
I was kind of border between 1 and 2, and I think because Jahan seemed kind of bordering and Gary's a definitive 1, we'll put it in.
We'll put it in
I'm
1.
fine with that. I think Soul is very good. I think that It blows my mind that this was even like an idea.
It
That
was
became a movie.
It was intense, man. And like honestly, like my being on the fence might just be like I'm worried about recency bias, kind of thing. Because I just watched it and I liked it a lot.
I can promise you that I would have given Inside Out a higher score if Soul didn't exist. But both of those movies are really about sort of this internal struggle. And I think that Inside Out does it great, and Soul just does it so much more
Soul's
elegantly
really
and
good,
so
man.
much more beautifully. And I think the movies are similar, but one is kind of fun and for kids, and one is just so deep and for everyone.
So it was kind of upsetting on like a very
Yeah, Soul's great.
it gave me that like empty feeling, but like in a good way at the end. I don't know.
Also, the animated wire style art that they use is really
Bro, those things were crazy looking. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very cool. Very neat things going on in Soul. Nothing but love for it.
Next is Luca.
I liked Luca. Probably 2.
Tier 3.
I'll say 3 also. I really liked Luca. I think it's very quaint. You know, it's cute, it's fine, but it's kind of harmless in a way, you know, but I think that it can go in 3 and be fine.
I did kind of feel like low stakes.
Yeah. And then last is, of course,
Tier
the most
3.
recent Turning Red.
I would put it in, well,
Based on everything else we talked about, Turning Red reminds me of something like Captain Underpants or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It does not, to me, hit that Pixar level of quality, but I did not finish the movie.
What would you?
I'd probably put it in about 2.
I would also probably put it in 2.
And then we'll leave it at
put
2.
So Turning Red
Okay.
goes in 2. So the way that this ended up working out is we have 10 movies in tier 1. We've got 8 in tier 2, and we've got 7 in tier 3. So that's about right.
That sounds
20,
right.
25 movies. There wasn't going to be, you know, an even split necessarily, but we got as close enough. I'm fine. You know, I think the 10 that are in tier 1, actually looking at the list, it's such a solid list of 10 movies. They deserve to be in tier 1. So
it's a really weird. They have upcoming on the Wikipedia, and it's like Lightyear, right? June 17th. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But then it has like June 16th, 2023, March 1st, 2024, and then June 14th, 2024. But it says to be announced what's coming out. But it looks like they have dates planned, which is interesting. I don't know.
So,
What do you think about Lightyear? Where do you think that's gonna?
Bro, I think it looks good.
I do too.
I think it looks
Like
good.
if I had to pre-rank it right now, it's going in tier 1.
I think it's going in tier 1, bro.
Based on trailers.
I think it's going in. I think I'm gonna love it, and I think it's going in tier 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna love it.
It looks visually amazing. It looks kind of gooshy.
It's right in that sci-fi niche that I just absolutely love. That just fits to my liking, you know, my tastes.
Yeah, and then
all the Pixar sci-fi.
And you're gonna go to space in this movie. That just turns it to the max for me. You know?
Yeah, man, that turns it right up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna stack it higher for me than I can see, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Just like boom, boom, and then like keep stacking them until I can't see.
Stack it to the stratosphere is what they say.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right, you guys. We got to start with our rankings now, because now that was. I don't know if that was the easy part or the hard part, but I guess we'll see. Because now we've got these 7 movies will make up the bottom half of our list. So, starting at number 26, which of these movies deserves to be last on the list between Cars, Cars 2, Cars 3, Monsters University, The Good Dinosaur, Onward, and Luca?
Cars 3.
Cars
Onward is
3?
Good Dinosaur. Probably, honestly. I didn't see that one.
It's between The Good Dinosaur and Cars 2.
I didn't see any of the Cars movies or The Good Dinosaur. None of those. Or Finding Dory. I've seen everything else.
So we're going based on my memory and maybe some of Gary's.
I was gonna say the Cars movies get worse in order. Cars 1, 2, 3, and I don't remember the Good Dinosaur. I just have no recollection of that movie. I don't
Did
even
we
know
by
what to do
default,
with it.
and it's not the fault of the movie necessarily, but I've seen it and I barely remember it, so I guess that says something too. Should we just put it last?
Yeah,
Let's put
probably.
it- yeah,
I
let's
think
put
it's
it
like
last.
known as the worst Pixar movie too, because it was kind of a flop, if I recall.
And then I would say Cars 2, and then Cars 2 is the worst one.
What happened to
That's
Planes?
the one I think is the worst
Didn't they
also.
come out with a movie called Planes?
Not Pixar though.
Weird. Okay.
And I think that actually Cars 2 was my favorite of the bunch. Oh, no, 3, I mean. 2 was the worst.
See, I like 3 also. I actually thought 3 was pleasant. So I'm with you. Cars 2 is the worst of the Cars movies. I would definitely say, if we're putting the Good Dinosaur last, Cars 2 is next.
Then Cars 1.
Is Cars
then
2 the one
Cars
where he's a
3.
spy?
Yes, it's the universe, the international traveling one.
That's really funny.
Honestly, one of the few scenes that I remember is the scene where Mater thinks he's eating pistachio ice cream, but it's wasabi, and so it's really spicy. So that pretty much sums up that movie's sense of humor.
That's Cars 2.
So Gary, you're saying Cars 2, then Cars 3?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Would you put Monsters University, Onward, or Luca lower than any of those?
I would put Luca lower, and then Monsters University, and then Onward is the best of that bunch.
Okay. Jahan, do you agree with that?
I would going from the top down. I would go Onward, Monsters, Luca.
That's exactly what I said.
That's what I would. Yeah, but you said that you would put Luca below Cars 3. Or did I misunderstand? Okay.
He was having me do it reverse.
Okay.
So okay. Here's what I'm leaning towards.
This is a fun
will do
exercise
Cars.
for people to visualize in their head.
We will do
Right.
Cars at number 20. What is that? 23. The Good Dinosaur. Cars 2. Cars. So it sounds like Gary would put Luca next, and then Cars 3. Jahan would put Cars 3, and then Luca. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm actually probably more with Jahan here. So Gary, are you willing to concede there?
Yeah, I think Cars 3 and Luca are interchangeably bad, though. Just let the record show.
Okay, so Luca, and then
I like
Monsters
Luca.
University.
I also like
Yeah,
Monsters too.
And Onward.
Yeah, I really liked Onward, so I'm going to put that as high as I can.
Okay, that's it. We've completed that tier.
It's not bad.
So, we'll move on to the tier 2 movies to put them in the list. We have here A Bug's Life,
Mm.
Toy Story 2,
Mm.
Finding Nemo,
Mm.
Brave,
Mm.
Inside Out, Finding Dory,
Fuck.
Incredibles 2, and Turning Red.
This is hard.
Inside
hard.
Out is my favorite one of that list. My personal favorite.
I agree. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Looking at this list, and also to avoid the most controversy and pushback, that we should probably put Inside Out at the top of these. Jahan, are you okay with this as well?
I think so.
We'll go through them after, so don't worry. I know that it gets a little confusing because I have this up in front of me and you guys don't. So
Drew has a
y'all are doing well.
spreadsheet.
Of these,
You can share
I
your
would-
screen and we can see it if you want to.
I'm on a different yeah. Yeah, I'm on 2 different computers. I would put Brave at the bottom of this list of the tier 2 movies.
Okay.
I don't think I would put Brave at the bottom.
I
There was
also don't
something
think
else.
I would either.
Or Finding Dory would be the other one I would.
Didn't see it, so that's fine with me.
And I liked Dory. There was something else on this list that I didn't love.
I'll go through them again. A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo,
Toy Story.
Brave, Inside Out, Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, and Turning Red.
Yeah, I'm okay. Dory can be down there.
Yeah, Dory's down there.
Toy Story 2, though, I also really didn't like Toy Story 2.
I would put Toy Story 2 towards the top of this list.
I also would.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put Finding Dory at the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put Turning Red down there also, because I liked Dory and I didn't like Turning Red, but you guys
And
did.
I'd put Brave below Turning Red.
I would not. I would put Brave above Turning Red.
Man, you have some brave heads here.
I might actually, yeah, I think I would put Brave above Turning Red too.
Oh, yeah, they're killing
Well,
me.
I mean, they had it's mostly because they had a lot of it was period time, like it was back in with archers and magic and stuff. Turning Red was more like a modern story with magic and stuff. The other one clung closer to fantasy, and I always go there, and so I think that's probably why.
So
I
you
liked
guys
it
are
more.
putting A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, Brave, Incredibles 2, and Inside Out above Turning Red.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
I like
Okay.
all of those movies.
I do think that Bug's Life and Toy Story 2 need to be coming up on this list soon, though.
I'm going to fight for now. We hit Turning Red. I'm going to fight for either A Bug's Life or Brave to take the next spot.
Brave's good.
Okay, all right.
How about Brave, A Bug's Life,
Yep, A Bug's Life, and then Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2. So now we are left with Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, Incredibles 2, or Inside Out.
Incredibles 2.
Yeah, Incredibles
We
stick
already
together.
We already said Inside Out's going at the top of these. So, okay. So you would put between Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, and Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is at the bottom of that.
Yep, and then I would actually, surprisingly, then I would do Toy Story, and then I would do Nemo.
Jahan, are you putting Toy Story above or below Finding Nemo?
Toy Story 2?
Yes.
Below, I think.
You liked Finding Nemo more than Toy
I
Story.
think Finding Nemo has a more emotional story.
It's been out for a year.
The Turtles, man.
It's
Turtles.
it's a hard one for me though, man. I actually really like Toy Story 2. I like Woody's Roundup. I like Prospector Pete. I like all the characters.
I like the Turtles. I like the spooky girl at the dentist's office. I like the seagulls. Nemo did a lot for me also for memorable characters.
I like that Woody kind of becomes like a bit of a duty head in that movie.
He does.
You know.
All right. So from tier 2, ranking these now in order from best to worst. Worst in quotes because
We like 'em
obviously
all.
we've said no Pixar movie is bad.
Except the Good Dinosaur. And
From
Cars
best to worst,
2.
we've got Inside Out,
Okay.
Finding Nemo,
Okay.
Toy Story 2,
Okay.
Incredibles 2, A Bug's Life, Brave, Turning Red, Finding Dory.
I'm happy
Feel
with
good about
this.
this?
I'm okay with this, but I think I would actually switch Bug's Life and The Incredibles 2. Personally. I like
now-
Bug's Life a lot. Bug's Life
Right
was huge
now-
for me.
Right now, Incredibles 2 is better than Bug's Life because I don't think I agree with that either.
Yes, that is correct. So
Yeah, I
we can
don't-
switch those?
We can switch those. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I also felt like Bug's Life. I like Incredibles 2 a lot, but Bug's Life, I mean, flaming death, and then
Bug's
I
Life
mean,
it's like if Ants was good.
Ants is so weird. Oh my god, Ants is so weird. I remember my parents putting that on. They were like, "What the hell is this?" I thought this was a kids movie.
All right, so I'm going to do the last tier to make it easier. I'll do it in our Google Doc at the bottom just so that y'all can see it too.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's at the bottom.
oh,
Oh, well, maybe. There we go. Okay.
I can see it. Ooh,
So
okay.
these
So
are-
what's
These are the 10 that we now have to rank.
this
for
is
top
going to be
tier.
hard.
Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, Toy Story 3, Coco, Toy Story 4, Soul. So which of these, obviously, these are 10 incredible movies.
These are the top 10 Pixar
Let's
movies
just-
of all time.
Let's
Yeah.
just start saying that because we are obviously not saying that any of these
No.
are bad. when
I've
we
got
say which is the
two-
worst of the group.
I've got two I'd like to nominate for the bottom. I'll be the guy.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to nominate Coco and Toy Story 3 for the bottom.
I would like to nominate Ratatouille. Personally. Ratatouille is definitely my least favorite of this list.
I might go to blows with you. I think Ratatouille deserves the number 3 or 4 spot on Pixar movies.
I'm kind of with Gary. Ratatouille is not one that I revisit all the time, but it is one that has stuck with
It's
me.
a good
as
movie,
being
definitely.
elite year.
But man, it's just
I-
so yeah. Maybe man,
So
I really
I'll
like
say
Coco.
this. I'll say this: of Toy Story, Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4, because we have 3 Toy Story movies in this top tier.
Yes,
3 is the lowest of those for me.
Me too.
So-
I really like Toy Story 4.
Me too. I do
Yeah.
think that Coco is gonna be in the latter half of these 10 as well. So just going kind of off what Gary said, because Gary threw out Toy Story 3, Coco, and then Jahan threw out Ratatouille. I'm not ready to put Ratatouille down there.
it's okay.
Well, let's put him on the list then, and then we'll see if we need to slide him around when we get to Ratatouille.
So which
So-
one's going bottom? Would you say Coco? Jahan,
Toy
which do
Story.
you like more, Coco or Toy Story 3? I
what?
know Gary's answer.
What? Why? Oh no, Coco. I like Coco better.
Better. So Toy Story 3 is going in the 10th slot.
Ah, why? Fucking Luxo is actually also in Disney Villainous now. Interesting pick.
Okay.
Kind of gushy.
I'm just looking at the rest of these right now. Oh boy.
So does that make
Ooh.
Coco number 9?
Does it? I don't know.
Unless
Jahan, does
anyone-
it?
That's what it sounded like you guys were talking about.
What do
Do
you
I
think?
like-
Oh, I would totally put Ratatouille at number 9. I'm gonna keep bringing up Ratatouille until you guys dick.
Gary, what would you put below Ratatouille of these? Because I know you're very high on Ratatouille, so we're gonna have to have some sort of.
There is gonna be
meeting
some talking here. Yeah, this is hard.
I think, man, John's gonna come. He's gonna drive 14 hours and stab me in my sleep. I think Ratatouille is better than Up. I think Wall-E is better than Ratatouille.
Wow.
Yes, Wally is definitely better than Ratatouille. If I ever stab you, Gary, you will be wide awake.
Well, in 14 hours, I should be well rested. That
There
should
you
be
go.
great timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great
you
timing.
put
Put a
Do you
pot of
put
coffee
the
on.
Toy- Do you put the Toy Story movies over Wall-E and Ratatouille?
I put Toy Story 1
Above both of us, yes.
above both of those, yeah, and maybe Toy Story 4 is beneath Ratatouille.
Okay. Here's what I'm leaning towards. Coco at number 9. Let's just try this. Let's just see. Okay.
Let's just try it on. We can change it if
We'll
we
try
need
it on.
to.
We'll try it on. We'll see how it goes.
Try it on.
Okay. Coco. And then I'm going to nominate either Monsters, Inc. or The Incredibles to take number 8.
I think that's fair, and I'm willing to put The Incredibles up here.
And the reason I say that is that because I think, or Soul, I'd be fine putting Soul at number 8 also.
I don't know.
Okay, so
The
both of you
Incredibles.
immediately gave me
Incredibles.
the evil eyes. So
I would, yeah. Incredibles number 8, I think.
would you
number-
also say Incredibles under Monsters Inc., Gary?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
Monsters Inc. is sick. Randall is like dope as hell.
Yeah. Turned to the max.
Yeah, I like the way he turns the visible. He straight up turn.
Okay. Let's
So he's
try
burnt.
this.
So turn he's invisible.
Mm.
Just turn all the way to 11.
Okay. That leaves us with Toy Story, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, Toy Story 4, and Soul. I think an Up might have to be the number 6.
I'm thinking.
I'm thinking Toy Story 4.
I'm thinking Toy Story 4 as well, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I do think Up is the next one.
Okay, let me see. I mean, Toy Story, it's number 6 overall. It's not like that's bad, but
No, it's not
love
bad.
Toy Story 4.
Poor Drew. He feels like he let down
That-
Gary Newman or something.
Yeah, okay. Now
Randy
that I'm
Newman,
seeing
there you
what
go.
we would have as the top 4, I'm kind of sorry.
This
if
is
I'm-
Toy Story, Ratatouille, Wall-E, and Soul are the
This
top
is-
4 Pixar movies of all time. Is that what we're saying?
Uh-huh.
This is where Ratatouille needs to go.
Yes, I will agree with that. No problem.
Ratatouille, and then are we saying Soul or Wall-E or Toy Story?
Wally.
Ooh, boy.
See, I'd say Soul at number 3.
I would also say Soul, I think. This is hard.
Love Soul.
I did too, but I love Wall-E.
That's okay. You guys
Wall-E!
You guys agreed. You have the majority vote. Soul is
No.
my favorite. That doesn't mean it has to be our favorite.
That's fair.
And I'm gonna say Wall-E is number 2, and that Toy Story is gonna be number 1.
I think I agree.
You'll get no argument from me that Toy Story is the best Pixar
So-
movie of all time.
What I'm getting from these rankings is that we are old.
we are old.
Because we
Yeah,
picked
that's
the
exactly
first Pixar movie as the number 1. They never got any better. They only got worse.
The
What they did
animation
was
looks
they-
old, but it still holds up.
They set a new golden standard, is what they did.
It's a 2.
Toy Story set a brand new golden standard in
It's fair.
entertainment, in computer animation entertainment, in childhood entertainment. Everybody wanted to be Pixar after Toy Story.
I wonder how it
changed
looks
the
now.
world. It
Do we
actually
feel-
still looks fine.
Do we
Do you
feel
guys
good
remember seeing
about
Toy
this?
Story when it came out when you were a youngin'?
Yeah.
Did you go see it in theaters?
Oh, yeah.
You have a story?
No, I don't have a story about it.
You were too young to remember the story?
Man, I remember seeing it. I know that, like, I wanted the bucket of Army Men. Because I liked Army Men and, like, the little plastic dinosaurs and stuff. Like, the little Dollar Tree ones. I was cool with that stuff. I wanted them all over again. I wanted a whole box of the Army Men. I wanted a Buzz Lightyear. It's good times, man.
How about you, Drew? Do you have a remember seeing Toy Story as a child story?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of, I had been to the movies before that, obviously a lot, but it's probably one of my most memorable theater experiences as a kid because it was one of those immediately I walked out of the theater in whatever year it was 1995.
1995, yeah.
And it was 6-year-old Drew walked out of the theater and was like, that's my favorite movie. It was that for me.
I remember going to see
Yeah.
it with my grandmother, and she was always up to no good. And so I remember we went out of like the wrong exit at the end. She wanted to go out like one of the screen side exits, and it took us behind the building. We had to walk all the way around to the car. But she was always doing silly crap like that. And I remember that's when we went and saw Toy Story, and same thing. That was it. That was my new favorite movie. And I remember just talking about it the whole way from all the way around the wrong side of the building all the way back to
It was
the car.
definitely my favorite movie when it came out, for sure.
Another strong memory for me is that my family, my first trip to Disney World was the summer of 1996. So when I was 7. So it was just a year after, Toy Story was still pretty hot. It was still very popular. So when I went to Disney World for the first time, Toy Story was everywhere.
Yeah.
Toy Story themed parades. So I got to see a parade where there was Woody and Buzz and the Army Men and all of that, and they had Toy Story merch. I remember wanting, because I had a lot of the toys of the Toy Story characters. I had a Woody and I had Buzz, but I didn't have a Slinky Dog, and they had a Slinky Dog toy at
Hell
Disney
yeah.
World, and I really wanted the Slinky Dog toy. And of course, Disney prices all the toys and everything are super inflated, and my dad was like, "No, I'm not paying $40 for Slinky Dog toy. Get out of here." And I did not get the Slinky Dog toy, and I was
You
disappointed.
hear that, Dad?
You
Foop
ordered
you.
one Slinky Dog.
I can confidently say now that he made the right decision.
You can go fill your pockets with rocks, old man, and take him down to the pawn shop.
Shout out to my dad, who just turned 70 years old earlier this month.
Oh, what's up? Congratulations.
Turn
That's
to
good.
the max.
He definitely
I was
does
also
not
gonna
listen to the
say-
podcast, but
The villain, Sid. Sid is like,
Sid's a good villain.
almost a household name, right? His name's just Sid. Everyone knows the villain from the first Toy Story, I like to think.
I mean,
And
Yeah.
some of those toys were just so terrifying, even though they ended up being anti-heroes in the end and being good guys. But, the toy, the doll's head that shaved with the spider legs, I think that toy will forever be saved in my head. What a great, terrifying creature.
I liked Legs. Legs is hilarious. And then I liked the Pez dispenser that was stuck in the strongman body with the like hoppy foot. That was good. I liked all of those toys. You're right. Those are great. I am Mrs. Nesbit. Yes. They also gave us Pizza Planet. The Claw. All that stuff.
I was wearing
fantastic.
a Pizza Planet T-shirt yesterday. For a second, I thought
Pizza
I had it
Planet.
on. I was like, "Oh, where's my shirt?"
Pizza Planet. I want to go. But yeah, my first Disney experience. I've only ever been to Disney the one time, and I was an adult. I was 24, I think, somewhere around there. Well, we went with my family. We went to Florida for like a whole week, and then like we did 4 of the parks over 4 days, and then I think we did Universal one day. And yeah, Disney Park was awesome, man. I can't wait to go again.
I think when
shout
I
out
was in
to,
like
y'all were talking Sid from Toy Story, and shout out, by the way, voiced by Eric Von Detten of Brink fame for my Disney Channel homies out
man.
there.
Old boy Puppin says.
Yeah, yep.
when I went to Disney, I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I feel like I've been through so much since then that I'm not even sure that the same person went to Disney. I would love to go again as an adult. I think it would actually be a lot more magical as an adult than it was as a kid. I was sort of a jaded little bastard of a child, and now now I think I'm a bit more open and receptive to happiness. So I think I would like it more.
Yeah.
Well, should I go ahead and go through our final rankings here?
Go ahead.
We wrap?
Yeah, man. Let's give them from worst to best. I guess everybody already knows what's the best.
So these are the definitive, fresh out the box, presents fresh out the podcast Pixar rankings. At number 25, The Good Dinosaur. At number 24, Cars 2. 23, Cars. 22, Cars 3. 21, Luca. 20, Monsters University. 19, Onward. 18, Finding Dory. 17, Turning Red. 16, Brave. 15, Incredibles 2. 14, A Bug's Life. 13, Toy Story 2. 12, Finding Nemo. 11, Inside Out.
All right.
10.
All right. These last 10, if we do this correctly, we could each trade off, and then we could clip it, and then we could use it as an upload for the podcast. Like if we each do countdowns of the 10, and then we can like post it places for like
You
here's our
deleted all
top
the numbers
10.
and I don't remember.
They're in order.
I put them in order. I copied them. I repasted them in order for you.
Okay, well, then we can do that.
Right? Should we do that? Then
Yeah,
we
go
can
ahead,
clip
Gary.
in-
Start it off, and then Drew, and then me.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay. 10, Toy Story 3.
9, Coco.
8, The Incredibles.
7, Monsters, Inc.
6, Toy Story 4.
5, Up.
4, Ratatouille.
3, Soul.
2, Wall-E.
And the number 1 best Pixar movie of all time, Toy Story. The original, the classic. You can't beat it.
Especially not when you're this old, I guess.
I'm really proud of these rankings, actually.
I actually think they're pretty good. I think it was a pretty good ranking. It sounded right. Man, making choices like that's hard. Being a critic's hard, man.
It is, but we did it. We didn't fight too much. There was no bloodshed. You know, I'm proud of us. We were adults.
Well, I wouldn't say there was no bloodshed. Turning Red did come in at
Oh, no. Oh, gonna cut you off there. Oh, boy.
And he dunks on him.
All right. Well, is there anything that y'all want to add before we wrap it up? You know, next week we'll be doing our kind of weekly what we've been watching.
I know that we were just talking about mostly Pixar stuff, but there are a couple of things that I think that people should know about. Halo, the Halo TV show, is coming out on Paramount Plus this week, and that's why I didn't want to wait to talk about it. It comes out the 24th, which I think is Wednesday. No, it's Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday, March 24th on Paramount Plus. Also, you've been preaching the Guardians of the Galaxy game on Xbox Game Pass. It did finally come out. I've been playing it. I called my brother, and Thomas and I talked about it for like an hour and a half. We're both loving that game. The soundtrack, the reimaginings of the characters, the action, and then actually just the gameplay itself. There's a lot of fun sequences to be had in that game. The story pushes forward. It's a cast of characters who you feel like you already know because of the movies. They didn't change their personalities much. So you feel like you get this continuation of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just more of what you already love with a little bit of video gaming changes. Nothing but good things to say. Guardians of the Galaxy might be my favorite single-player game I've played in years. I played card games and strategy games and things like that, but a single-player narrative adventure game isn't for me. Guardians of the Galaxy is absolutely a blast. I'm loving it. Check it out on Game Pass.
I'm really glad that you like it so much, because honestly, I thought if there was anything that you were, just knowing you and your tastes, I was scared that it was going to be too story heavy. And so I'm glad to hear that that was not the case.
No, so what's great about this actually is that my wife just started going back to work. And so during the day, it was something that was like watching a show and playing a game at the same time. So it easily takes up a good part of the day if you have, social anxiety, or you're not used to being alone in a place and it makes you think terrible thoughts. You should play Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a blast, and I recommend it.
The game for when the walls start closing in.
Absolutely, John. You couldn't have said it better.
We here, fresh out the box, have depression.
Play Guardians of the Galaxy. We will definitely be watching Halo. It'll be a little bit, I think, before we're able to officially talk about it, but we will definitely be on top of that when we get to it. Is that fair to say?
Actually, yes, I'm going to talk about it next week. I don't know if you've looked at my notes yet for next week, but I'm going to talk about Halo.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll be talking about it every week. We'll talk about it every week from now on.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess that's all. I'm excited for our talks next week. I have been Johannanon at RockFact on Twitter.
I'm Casualty CDG, Gary Avenger. I'm a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective that decided to start playing tabletop games and being a comedian instead. It's more fun. It's better for the brain. Check me out at Casualty CDG and come see Jahan and I play tabletop games every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. on twitch.tv/Jahananon, or on our Fresh Out the Box YouTube, or on our Fresh Out the Box Facebook. And don't forget that we're on all the podcast networks, right? We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Podbean. Did we ever end up getting on Google?
We're on Amazon, we're on Google Play, I think we're on iHeartRadio. We're everywhere, man.
So your friends have no excuses. If your friends aren't listening to Fresh Out the Podcast because they don't have a certain streaming service, tell them, nay, you are wrong, and direct them to one of the many sites in which they can enjoy us, Fresh Out the Podcast.
And I'm Drew Munhausen at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. And of course, we know that you all will be in agreement with these definitive Pixar rankings, but if you do have any arguments or you are baffled by a decision or outright mad, tweet at Jahan about it. Just at Jahan.
Yeah, tweet at me at RockFact on Twitter. I'll set you straight. And if you want to send us a manifesto, please send it to freshouttheboxofficial@gmail.com. And stay fresh.
I'll read a manifesto.
Outside the box. Trash out the box.
everybody. Welcome back to Fresh Out the Podcast. I am sometimes, in certain circles, referred to as Johanna.
I'm the co-host of this show and another show, and that show is called Fresh Out the Box, and this one's called Fresh Out the Podcast. And that's the good thing about the shows that I'm on, is it's pretty easy to remember the names of them both. I'm Casualty CDG. You can find me at Casualty CDG on the social media platforms. I'm a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective. Now I play tabletop games and make jokes. I like that.
I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and I am also the owner of one single ticket to go see the film Morbius in theaters on the evening of March 31st.
You know,
Now,
it's funny.
Why would you do that when you can just stay at home and stab yourself in the asshole with a spoon, Drew?
I was reading an article that there was one pre-ordered ticket for Morbius, actually, so now it all makes sense.
Yeah, the news was like, yeah, exactly one person has lined up to see this movie.
So if all of you Fresh Out the Podcast fans, what should we call them abbreviated? Freshies, maybe?
Ooh.
All the freshies out there?
No.
I need all
That
you
might be
freshies out
taken.
there.
I like to call them nasty old freaks.
All you nasty old freshies, just go ahead and tweet at Gary and Jahan and tell them that it's a good idea for them to also go see Morbius so that we can do a Morbius-themed episode, because that is what true podcasters do.
Freshies is a thing.
I feel like if 10 people tell me to go see Morbius on Twitter, I'll go see it.
It's a kind of air freshener. Okay.
Drew, if you can get 10 people listening to this podcast to tweet Casualty CDG to go see Morbius, we'll go see it opening weekend so that we can talk about it.
Okay.
If that
I will
happens,
make this my goal.
if that happens, I'll go see it.
Okay.
All right. This is my goal.
You can tweet at me if you want to at RockFact, and if 10 people do that, I'll also go see it. But if you do it to Gary, I'll still do it. I don't want to see it.
There
though.
you have it.
I used to want to see it, but the previews look bad. I actually like Morbius as a character. I like vampires in general. I hate Jared Leto.
I want to I want. It's not that I want to dislike Morbius. I know that I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's not that I want to. Okay. I just think that it's going to be good to put into perspective the worst movie of this year. And you're going to have to see it so that you can compare everything else this year to Morbius.
What if, just bear with me here. What if it's good? What if it's good?
You want to make it interesting or something?
No.
No one wants to make a bet here.
Just hypothetically, what if it's good?
I mean, if it's good, then we see a good movie and awesome. But it's not going to be.
It's not going to be good.
You know full
God.
damn well it's not going to be.
No, it's not going
It's not going to be good.
The best thing that they could possibly do, and I mean this, is put Tom Hardy's Venom in it. And that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't help. That wouldn't be good at all. That would be bad.
Yeah, not a big fan of Tom Hardy's Venom. Yeah.
And that's the best thing they could possibly do. And that is terrible news.
Yeah. The best thing they could possibly do is make him fight Mahershala Ali's Blade. But that's definitely not going to happen.
The best thing they could possibly do is not release that movie, but that's definitely not going to happen.
What if Andrew Garfield's in it? Anyways, we're getting away from ourselves here.
Well, last week we did a ranking of all the Pixar films that will not be controversial or, against anybody else's opinions at all, right? Actually, we did a pretty good job. I feel like we were in agreement. We did good.
I actually think it's kind of messed up and smart that we do rankings as like a threesome, because it like shields all of us from some of the fallout.
I was going to say
it's almost cowardly.
Tweeting Jahan all last week, like you told them to, if they had any complaints. Jahan's had dozens of tweets No one complained. Everyone was agreeing with the list. They all loved it. Everyone had high praise, pretty much 100%. So that was really nice to see.
So, because we spent the last episode doing the Pixar rankings, talking Oscars, this week will be our kind of catch up on all the stuff that we've been watching over the past couple of weeks. And it looks like there's a lot, and I know some of these things multiple of us did watch. So, if y'all don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and kick it off here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like
movies.
you and I, Drew, have some that are piled up. We watched some of the same shows, so that should be nice.
Yeah, so we'll start with movies and kick it off with The Adam Project, which is streaming now on Netflix, directed by Sean Levy and starring Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner. And yeah, Jahan, did you watch this?
No, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance yet.
I made a
Gary
rating.
and I did.
I rated this movie on Netflix. I rated it either thumbs up or thumbs down. What do you think I rated it, Drew?
I'm going to guess you gave it a thumbs down.
I did. I did give it a thumbs down.
I would have guessed that too, just based on your history.
Well, it's weird because I like Ryan Reynolds and I want to like these Netflix Ryan Reynolds movies, but they almost are all starting to blur together.
Yeah.
And this one was almost no different. There was a young version of Ryan Reynolds who was a lot of fun in like the first half of the movie, like a mouthy kid who they cast really well.
Yeah.
And all their adventures together are really fun. And Ryan Reynolds, like basically the kid immediately accepts that like that's future me.
Yeah.
Like the kid, like he doesn't accept it for like 2 or 3 scenes, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm on board," which is great because I think that's how I would be too. I was talking to my wife and she was like, I'd be more skeptical. I was like, man, if future me, like you would know some shit. You'd be able to tell me. I would know within like minutes if you were me. So I liked that part. All the way up until there's this romantic relationship the whole time that Ryan Reynolds' character is pursuing. And then he finds the love of his life. And then they have this like, I mean, she's not been in the movie, right? And then she's in it. They have this passionate scene about how in love they are. And then the next scene, she's like, I have to sacrifice myself. You'll find me in another timeline. And she's out of the movie until the very, very end. And I was just like, boy, did that seem like shoehorned in, rushed, not real, and just felt gross. Like it felt like a gross
Get it over with.
Yeah, it felt horrible. It felt like a bad plot line. And then the entire focus of the movie shifts and changes. And instead of going after the girl, they go after his dad. And that's a whole thing. So then they have a whole nother tragic family loss storyline they try to cash in on. And to me, it just felt like too many feel-good movies to try to be crammed into this another Ryan Reynolds Netflix movie. And I think that they missed sort of the charm that they had, which was Ryan Reynolds and that kid were the charm. And other than that, that movie was pretty unwatchable.
Ooh.
Yeah, so my opinion's actually not too far off from Gary's, and just to be completely honest with the way that I experienced this viewing, I watched part of it, and all I had time to watch was maybe like the first 40 minutes or so, and then I actually had to go to a concert that night, and so I went to a concert, then I finished it the next day. But I really liked the first 40 minutes, which is right up until the point that Gary said it kind of turned for him. And watching that first 40 minutes, I was like, oh, I've seen some negative reviews for this movie, but I'm finding this to be kind of charming. I kind of like the Amblin-esque feel of it, like kind of those 80s Spielberg-esque, your E.T.s or Close Encounters, or even some of the copycats like Super 8 or something like that. It kind of had the feel of that. I'm like, oh, I'm vibing with this.
E.T. type of vibe, for sure. It definitely took a scoop out of the E.T. tub of ice cream and slapped it on that sundae.
Yeah, and so then I went to the concert, and I even went with a buddy, and I was talking about it. And I was like, well, I've only watched the first half of it, but based on what I've seen, I would recommend it. I'm enjoying this so far. And then the next day I finished it and thought, oh no, what have I done? Why did I recommend this? I feel like it kind of gets it gets lost in its own way. It's very charming at first, and when it tries to really follow the storyline it's setting up, it kind of loses track of what it's trying to be. Because, like I said, the very beginning is kind of this charming family sci-fi movie, but then it kind of tries to veer into Ryan Reynolds, not raunchy necessarily, but like a little bit more trying to appeal to the adult Ryan Reynolds fans, and that didn't really work for me.
And
with
then there's
the tone
a
of the first half.
businesswoman in a time traveling jet who shoots Zoe Saldana. It's a whole thing.
It's a bad villain.
It's a bad villain.
It's, the plot doesn't necessarily go how you want it to, and then for me, the emotional payoffs that obviously with time travel stuff and different ages and things, without going too much into the spoilers of the movie, there's just some reunions or things that try to pull at your heartstrings, and I could see how it might work for some, but for me, I just kind of it fell flat.
I agree. Maybe some people were, riled by the emotion there, but for me, I was already rolling my eyes at that point in the movie too much to have any feeling. I was just like, oh my god, you guys are doing this again? Yeah. Like, I'm rolling your fucking eyes, guys. Can we please get on with it? That's how a lot of the last part of the movie felt.
And one thing that's worth noting that I think is interesting, Sean Levy is the director of this, which the last movie he directed was Free Guy. So another Ryan Reynolds collaboration.
Yeah.
But a lot of his past movies are, kind of family-friendly fare. I don't know if he did all of them or just some of them. I don't have it in front of me, but I know he did at least one or two of the Night at the Museum movies with Ben Stiller. He did the first Cheaper by the Dozen movie that had Steve Martin in it. And so he's done like family movies.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously recently he's been working closely with Ryan Reynolds, and he has been named as the director of Deadpool 3.
Ooh.
And which speaks to the relationship that he and Ryan Reynolds have, because I'm sure that Ryan Reynolds has some input in who gets to direct a Deadpool movie, I would assume. And so obviously if this is a creative partner he likes working with, that helps.
Because Ryan Reynolds is involved creatively with Deadpool, right?
Right. Yeah. And so, but for me, I was not as high on Free Guy as I think both of you were.
I like Free Guy.
Yeah.
I did like
I also liked Free Guy. It's just... Yeah, again, it was fine, and it's another one of those Ryan Reynolds Netflix movies that are starting to run together in my head.
Yeah.
At the end of this 8-year mark, I don't think I'm going to be able to tell you which one was which.
I don't know, man. A lot of movies have just become different for me with streaming and that kind of thing. It's just you put them on, they entertain you, or they don't. I don't know. It's almost like dulled my senses. To that kind of stuff.
And there was an interesting discourse on Twitter the weekend that the Adam Project came out, just talking about how, it comes out, it's in the top 10 of Netflix for a couple weeks, but you don't really hear that many people talking about it or whatever. And the same thing kind of happened with Red Notice. It kind of came and went.
I know why. It's because they're not good. Yeah. They're just fine.
And some people were making the argument that had they been theatrical releases, would it have been more of a discussion?
No, they would have been massive bombs. Nobody would have gone to watch.
It would have been upsetting. It would have been upsetting to pay money to see some of these things. I think Free Guy would have been fun in theaters.
If Brendan Fraser would have been around during this era, he would have never stopped getting work. They would have been making mummy stuff, and he would have had different jobs. He would have stayed working. But he had a couple of theatrical bombs and people stopped giving him jobs. But Ryan Reynolds doesn't have to deal with that. He can just make these subpar movies that nobody talks about.
It's kind of a fair point there.
And they'll just keep paying him.
That's a pretty good point, man.
Yeah.
It's less risky to your career to be making these in a lot of ways.
Because these are basically just, they're just giant TV shows. They're not movies. They're not great. They're not trying to win awards. they're not these big cinematography masterpieces. It's just Netflix junk.
They do have a weird feel. We almost watched the Adam Project. Jenny said it didn't sound good, and I guess she was right, by the sounds of what you guys are saying. We wound up watching Turning Red that time instead.
Turn it off at the 55-minute mark.
Interesting. Yeah, no,
Watch
the
Adam Project for 55 minutes exactly.
the whole like older self like time travel shtick. I feel like it was actually surprisingly done very well in Zathura. I actually thought that movie is underrated. I think that's a pretty good movie.
Actually, never seen it, but I've heard good things about it. I believe Jon Favreau directed Zathura.
You did. That makes sense because it was actually pretty good. I don't know. I guess that just speaks to Jon Favreau because no matter what you give him, he's gonna make it good. You should check it out. I would recommend you watch that with
As kind of a sci-fi, also, I kind of care about how time travel timeline stuff works a little bit in the movie. They do fine. They don't break the timelines and make it really stupid or cheesy or anything. They do a fine job. He definitely goes and meets his younger self, which he knows that he's not supposed to do. That's one of the rules, but he thinks that both of their lives may be in danger, so that's the reason he breaks the rule. But other than that, they don't do a whole lot of like butterfly effect type of crap where it's all falling apart. They just kind of stick to the basics of it and do the magic hand wave, and it's close enough.
True.
So at least they didn't dump on time travel, is my point. Sometimes if you're watching a show or a movie where they do things that make no sense, it just takes you out of it. I don't think that Adam Project suffered from that, at least.
It does time travel pretty well, surprisingly. I feel like Hot Tub Time Machine does a decent job.
They do, and those movies are actually quite entertaining.
They're pretty good.
Well, moving on, I'll talk about another quick things, and this actually will tie into Netflix as well. So a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie dropped on Netflix here recently. And before watching it, so I knew it's one of those legacy sequel things, as they call it, where this is there's been 10 Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise movies over the years, give or take, that are sequels or origins or remakes or whatever, but this is the 2022 movie is a direct sequel to the original, or supposed to be. You
know who hates the term legacy sequel? Gary.
Everyone.
I knew this girl in high school who said that her dad played Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and she wouldn't tell me which one, and I'm assuming it had to have been one of the direct-to-TV ones. They also didn't have the same last name, and she also said that her not stepdad, what is it? Your guardian parent, if your parents die, was the drummer from Pantera.
Godparent?
Yes, she said her godfather was the drummer from Pantera, and that her dad was Leatherface, and also played Zangief in the Street Fighter movie.
If all of that's true, that's awesome, but I bet none of it's true.
Yeah, no one liked her in hindsight, so maybe she was a horrible liar.
Well, before watching this new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I decided to watch the original from 1974 because I had actually never seen it. And I watched it, and it was very good. There's a reason why it's iconic and has
it's pretty messed up.
A long legacy. You've seen it, Jahan?
Oh yeah. I do some of the horror stuff. I dip in.
It's kind of interesting. It's interesting when you watch these old horror movies and see the iconic villains that, like obviously Leatherface is one of those top tier horror villains that stands with Jason and Freddy and, Michael Myers and so on.
No,
but
he doesn't.
Leatherface...
He stands with Leprechaun and Pumpkinhead, one tier below the rest.
Well, it happened though. You gotta give it points for that.
Well, it was kind of, based on an amalgamation of some other serial killers. But, so but there's this family aspect with it that they go into in the other ones. But of course, Leatherface is just kind of the iconic imagery that has lasted the test of time. But anyway, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's good. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 movie is not good. This is one that was, sold off by one of the studios that they probably knew that it was going to be bad and was going to bomb, so they sold it up to Netflix because Netflix knows that they can drop a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and people will watch it. Its premise is a group of millennials are basically buying an abandoned Texas town, like buying all the buildings there to make their own bohemia little town that they can thrive in.
That sounds awesome. If you guys want to do that, hit me up at Casualty CDG.
Like gentrification of this abandoned town in the middle of nowhere.
Hell
where
yeah.
Of course they show up there and the one of the few residents that's actually there is Leatherface. So
oh no.
And there's this weird shoehorned backstory for one of the girls is the survivor of a school shooting, and it's not really relevant in the main course of things. They are just trying to give her like a backstory to show all the trauma she's endured, and it was strange, and it doesn't really work. And this movie does have some very gory kills, so if you want to see that as far as horror movies go,
that character was written by somebody who was not a survivor of a shooting.
Yeah, I would assume. That character is played by Elsie Fisher, who's the main girl from the movie 8th Grade, directed by Bo Burnham. Anyway, she's in this movie.
It's an interesting bunch of words there.
Yeah, so it's not good. Watch the original instead. If you want to watch Texas Chainsaw
The original
Massacre
holds
movie,
up, man.
just
The
watch
original, I don't know, horror back then, it's just different. You know, it's so different back then. People, you look back and you realize how cut off people were from each other. If you got in trouble, Houston or America, the United States of America is a big place, and you can really get off on your own, especially back then.
I think that if you're gonna make a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you turn it into an 8-episode series and you have it directed by Rob Zombie.
No, I think what you do is you make it you rebrand and you call it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And an ex-NFL quarterback throws chainsaws in a mall.
The Texas Seesaw Massacre, and it's the same thing, and he's throwing seesaws at people.
Ooh.
I really love that y'all never go off the rails at all during these conversations.
Drew, there are no rails on a seesaw.
Oh boy.
Or a chainsaw.
While we're speaking about old horror,
let's talk about your mom.
That crusty old bet. No,
obviously, there's a new Doctor Strange movie coming out in May. It's being directed by Sam Raimi, which is a big deal for Marvel fans and superhero fans that he's returning to the genre. So there's going to be a lot of Sam Raimi talk here in the next few months, and one of the podcasts that I actually listen to is going to start doing a Sam Raimi series leading up to it, and so that starts with The Evil Dead. And I have bought The Evil Dead 4K. I've owned it for a while, and I haven't watched it yet. And so I finally popped in the 4K UHD disc of The Evil Dead and watched it. And it had actually been a really long time since I've seen it, so it was kind of almost like watching it for the first time in a way, because I've seen Army of Darkness probably more than either of the first two Evil Dead movies. But man, The Evil Dead is cheesy and great and terrible all at the same time. It's
Dead is a classic, man. It's so I love Evil Dead. I love Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness is awesome. I don't know how they did what they did with that movie, but it all worked. And then I even liked the remake. I don't know how have you seen you've seen the remake, right?
I actually haven't seen the remake.
With the girl.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
Bro,
I did not care for the remake.
It's disturbing. It's scary. I thought it was really good.
I didn't like the remake, but it did make me wish that there was a Cabin in the Woods too.
Ooh.
I'd like to watch more Cabin in the Woods.
I would, because I like the first one so much, but I don't know that I need a sequel.
I don't know that I need one either, but the way that the movie was set up and the lore that was baked in was that there were many more outcomes to these horror scenarios.
Yeah.
And I just would have liked to see some. I think I just like the hidden world of horror. I think is a nice, fresh type of setting.
Ooh,
Kind of reminds me of Cube and Hypercube.
Okay, so yeah, Cube. Oh my god, Cube. Oh my
Love
god,
it.
I can't.
Fucking love Cube.
Cube kind of triggers me. That one bothered me. But
What
yeah,
I recently learned about Cube.
what?
It's only one set. It's only one room.
That makes sense.
We just redid that room for every single shot in the movie.
It's really smart.
Isn't that sick?
That is sick. Yeah, sorry to go on a tangent here, but
Sorry, Drew.
I feel like we should just do a horror talk at some point. But
I've been watching a lot more horror recently. I feel like in the past year I used to put horror off. Like I used to look at it as lesser, and I also used to feel like I get scared during horror movies, so I kind of didn't subject myself to it. But in recent years, I've been catching up on a lot of horror movies that I've missed and realized that it's a genre that I do really enjoy
I'm in
and appreciate.
I'm in a very similar boat. It does bother me. And I also put it off because I thought I was better than it was. And I was wrong. It's great.
I'm not going to watch a lot of horror movies.
That's fine.
I'm going to stay away from the grotesque violence. But if we want to do horror talks, I'll call in an expert.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well,
I'm an expert. I'll phone a friend. I'll bring someone.
Who's this expert?
Don't put me on the spot. I'll find a horror expert.
I'm trying to set you up. I thought you had a thing.
Find an expert.
But yeah, no, back Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, Cabin in the Woods too. I think it would be cool if they reset and then like had a different group of people with a different scenario. That'd be fun. Or if they did after Cabin in the Woods and like did like Cabin in the Woods Apocalypse, where like everything's going down. I'd watch that too. But I think I'm good.
The Evil Dead, it's good. It's one of the Wikipedia calls it one of the most where did I see it? One of the most significant cult films.
You know what I call it?
Which is probably true.
You know what I call it, Drew?
What do you call it, John?
Groovy.
Groovy. Yeah.
Hey, did you watch any of the TV show?
I have not.
I didn't finish it, but it does start off pretty good. I like it. The characters come back. Well, I mean, the character Ash comes back, and that's all that matters. And it's pretty cool.
I've watched it on and off, and I agree. From what I've seen, it's pretty cool and it's pretty funny. But I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing. But I should.
Groovy.
I remember it being pretty well reviewed.
Yeah, it got, what did it get? 3 seasons?
I think so. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So anyway, The Evil Dead, and then the only other movie that I was going to mention is Inception. I rewatched this because I've talked over the past few weeks of some of the Nolan movies that I've been going back and watching, and I rewatched Inception, and it actually didn't hold up as much for me on a rewatch. I don't know if y'all are big fans of Inception.
I don't know.
I
don't know if I am either, honestly.
It's good. I mean, there's some cool stuff in it, but I had put it on a much higher tier in my head until rewatching it and realized that it's not as good as I recalled. It kind of crumbles under its own weight plot-wise, I think.
Yeah.
There are some neat things in it, some very cool visuals, but I think as far as the plot and actually watching it as a movie, I think there are some parts that I struggle with.
I think there's a bit of fart sniffing in that movie.
I agree.
Oh.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I really like Inception, but I think there's Christopher Nolan might have sniffed his own fart on that
He was
one.
sniffing his own farts a little bit during the filming.
Hmm.
You know, that's obviously a very Jahan and Gary thing to say, but I also don't disagree with both on it.
Well, I mean,
I think I like it more than you guys do. I still hold it in pretty high regard, but for me to say that there was no fart sniffing would be a blatant lie. There was some fart sniffing.
there's some fart sniffing. I feel like it
I
suffered
agree.
because of its gastric smelling.
Yeah, sometimes you just beef yourself out, man. Sometimes it happens.
I beef myself out all the time.
Yeah,
It's one of
sometimes-
those. It's one of those movies that I enjoy watching the behind the scenes stuff of the rotating room that they actually built and seeing that kind of stuff almost more than watching the movie itself.
I noticed that you say it's the behind the scenes. What does it smell like on the behind, Drew? Does it smell like somebody's back there sniffing their own farts in the behind?
That is definitely what it smells like, even just watching YouTube videos.
That's what I figured. The
Boy.
next one you've got on your list is something that I've been watching too. I'm all caught up. I just caught the season finale. Pam and Tommy on Hulu, on the Hulu machine.
Yes. Also, I finished the series. I guess it's a limited series. It's not like there's going to be a season 2.
Right.
I finished this,
It
and
did fast
overall,
forward the end though.
you did. I'd
Like
say
the
overall,
last. I felt like the
whole thing
last
was good.
7 episodes 7 and 8 I felt were really really rushed. I felt like the whole season had a really good pacing that almost felt like maybe month to month in their life. But then all of a sudden, the 7th and 8th episode were like, how much time just went by here? Like, it feels like 2 or 3 years just went by, but like, just they almost acted like only a week went by. Other than that, I really liked the pacing of the show.
Yeah, I thought the show overall was okay. I think that there were some very strong moments, and there's some very good acting throughout. I think that overall as a show, I still feel like it would have worked better as a movie than as an 8-episode TV series. But again, you know, I watched all 8 episodes, so that has to say something positive about it. And I thought that Lily James, who played Pamela Anderson, was particularly good in it. Sebastian Stan, I think, was pretty solid as Tommy Lee, and then Seth Rogen is being Seth Rogen, which isn't a bad thing. It worked for his role.
Yeah, he was kind of being like a scared piece of shit Seth Rogen. But still Seth Rogen, which is fine. Yeah, I liked seeing him as kind of the scumbag antagonist. I thought it was fun. I liked the whole show, and maybe it's because I liked the entire cast, but I thought the performances were great. Obviously, the script was pretty good, right? Based on real events for the most part. And right up until the end, I just thought the pacing was weird, but like you said, it's a limited series. It's not like it's going to continue. Overall, I give it like it's like an 8-ish, a high 7 or an 8.
Probably more like sitting at a solid 6 out of 10 or so, like a 3 out of 5 for
I
me.
don't think I would watch it again by any stretch of the imagination, but I like watching like band biopics. I just kind of have a soft spot for band biopics, and so I guess maybe that's what it was. It's kind of this pseudo real story about the celebrities that I found pretty intriguing.
Yeah, see, and Pam and Tommy, I don't know. It's one of those that I had started it and invested time in it, so I was always going to finish it, but I didn't necessarily get that excited for the next episodes. But it was. I would still say it was solid. Now the next 2 shows that I'm about to talk about, I'm much more positive on than I think.
Before you get there, there's some sort of like TV show awards every year, right? That's a thing.
The Emmys, yeah.
I think that these 2 could win Emmys for their performances on this show.
I think we'll definitely come award season for TV for the Emmys, especially they do those categories for actor and actress in a limited series or movie made for television, etc. I could definitely see Lily James and Sebastian Stan both being nominated.
I could see them. I don't know what the competition is, but I could see them both winning. Their performances as those actors were great.
I would say of the two, Lily James probably has the better chance of really making waves in the awards conversation, but I think that they would both be present. Yeah, I agree.
All right, hit me with another show. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so my next one is a Showtime limited series, which I know I've been on the Showtime train recently. I talked to Yellow Jackets for a while back, and that's a Showtime series, but this is a Showtime. Well, I was going to say limited series, but it's been renewed for a season 2. It's going to be an anthology series. But this is super pumped. And this first season is the story of Uber. And it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And I'm going to forget. I
know that guy. Did you know he was the little kid in Third Rock from the Sun?
I did. He's also in the movie Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, wow.
He was also in the Batman Rising thing.
He also played, I think he also played Bruce Willis.
He was also...
He was also in Inception, which I just talked about a little bit ago. Yeah, so Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Travis Kalanick, who is one of the founders and former CEO of Uber, who was kind of ousted from the company famously in 2017. So this is a show showing the beginnings of Uber and the leading to all of that. And it also stars Kyle Chandler, and Uma Thurman is in it. And I am actually really enjoying this a lot. And let me say this. Joseph Gordon-Levitt I find to be very interesting. I generally like him, but I think that sometimes in some of his roles, he can come across... This is going to sound really harsh, but I kind of think he has this tendency to come across as like an over-eager theater kid, if that makes sense. Like when he's going for it or when he's over the top, he's like, he is a over-the-top, overexcited theater kid. But it really works for this. Now, granted, I don't mean for that to sound as negative as it probably does, because I do like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Having just watched Inception, he's very subdued in that, and I think he's actually pretty good. But in this, there's just sometimes where in his acting, you're like, you know that when he got done with his take, he looked at the camera or looked at somebody behind the scenes and was like, yeah, acting. That's the vibes I get from him. But it totally works for this character. So yeah, I would recommend this based on the first 2 episodes. It's very stylish. It's fun. Quentin Tarantino does the narration for the show, so that kind of gives you the vibes of, I guess what they're going for. But they did say it's renewed for a second season, but the second season's going to be about Facebook. So it's going to be, along those lines, like, this is the battle for Uber. The next season will be the battle for Facebook, so on and so forth, which I feel like that's pretty brave to tackle Facebook, considering The Social Network exists, and it's truly one of the best movies of the last 15 years. So it's a difficult topic to tackle, but I would recommend Super Pumped. There's been 3 episodes or so as of right now when we're recording.
Man,
I would watch.
I didn't know you liked The Social Network so much.
I would watch Super Pumped, except who has Showtime?
I know, that's the issue, right?
Jim Carrey in The Mask.
And it's a shame that I feel like not as... Oh, boy. It's a shame, too, because between Yellow Jackets and this, I feel like they're starting to pump out some pretty quality content. There's actually a great Sundance movie that just came out called After Yang that's streaming on Showtime right now, too. So yeah, it might be worth diving into. Who knows?
I actually want Showtime because I want to watch Yellow Jackets.
I can't hear Showtime anymore. I can't. You guys,
I'm sorry.
Why isn't the Showtime thing whenever you start it up the Jim Carrey clip from
Showtime?
Yeah, why isn't that their sound? Oh man, what's happening here? Like the lion roaring, it should be Jim Carrey in like a regal golden arch.
I'd watch that.
All right, Gary, I'm excited to talk about this next one because you've watched it too.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm actually a really big fan.
I've watched the first 2 episodes of Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. This is an HBO show, and
I
there's
have
been
great
2 episodes
news.
up to this point. I've watched both of them. Gary, you have too.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
No, Jahan. No. This is why you need to listen.
Okay.
I don't give a shit about basketball. I don't care. It's and this stars John C. Riley.
Oh,
Okay, did I get you?
said the magic words.
Yeah, that's it. I don't care about basketball. This stars John C. Riley.
Did you put your nuts on my drum set? Does he do that?
So
Does he do that bit?
this is the best I've seen John C. Riley in a long time, and maybe ever. He's hilarious. His character is deep and charming, and has range. He is getting Magic Johnson on the. He's buying the Lakers. That's what it's about. He is buying the Lakers during a time when the NBA is failing, the Lakers are failing, and Magic Johnson is getting right out of college after he just beat Larry Bird for the championships. And Larry Bird is hot shit, and the NBA wants him, everybody wants him, but nobody wants to touch Magic Johnson because he's black and it's the 70s, right? And so it's that story and that struggle and that time period. So it's a period piece, all takes place in Los Angeles with John C. Riley being this sort of a farce millionaire who's got all his money tied up in real estate, but he acts like he's hot shit and wants to party with the celebrities, and he wants to turn the Lakers around and make them a fun team and a good team all at once. And so it's compelling. It's a great story, and there's a lot going on. Focuses on him, and it focuses on Magic Johnson and his story and his family. It's really good. The editing is shot to it looks like it's a 70s show. At times there will be like the cigarette blips on the side that looks like it's the film spliced together. They do some edits that pop up on the screen over characters. I think that you'll find quite funny. One of the guys, his name's Donald something, and it pops up under his name and says second worst Donald of the 80s. And then another character, it pops up and it's like very white underneath his name, and they're talking about why they won't hire Magic Johnson, and everything they're saying on the phone over the top of the screen, it just says black, 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 black. And so there's stuff like that I think you'll get a good kick out of too. So
is it supposed to be funny?
Oh yeah, it's supposed.
Oh, it's a comedy.
It's a dramedy.
It's a drama, but it has a lot of comedy. So, Jahan,
Okay.
this show was
around.
created, the first episode was directed by Adam McKay. And Adam McKay has major hands-on with the show. And he's the director of Don't Look Up that came out this year. And he did Vice and The Big Short, and also did Step Brothers and Anchorman. So, and, he's the guy behind Succession, all that. So he's a big deal. Adam McKay's fingerprints are all over the first episode. If you've seen Don't Look Up, you kind of know his style. That's
I like that
totally
movie.
what they're going for here.
I like that movie.
There's a lot of breaking the fourth wall. They speak directly to the camera and kind of tell you what's going on. It really works for this. I'm not always a big fan of breaking the fourth wall, but this show really owns it. And it's not like they do it sometimes. They really do it consistently. So I feel like it works. There's a lot of big stars that are going to be in this show or haven't even been shown yet. Obviously, Gary mentioned John C. Riley. Jason Clarke's also in this show. Sally Field is in it. And then there's a bunch of people that haven't even shown up yet. Like Adrian Brody's going to be playing Pat Riley. You got Jason Segel's going to be showing up in this. Jillian Jacobs is going to be in it from Community. So there's like a lot of people that come and go. Jonah Hill directed the second episode. Did you catch that, Gary?
Yeah, I saw that, and the second episode was great. The first episode was great. Second episode was great. This is the new Sunday night HBO show, which, not to say it's ever going to be as big of Game of Thrones, because it never will be, but Righteous Gemstones is another Sunday night HBO show. And I think that Winning Time is better than Righteous Gemstones as far as quality goes.
You've been real high on Righteous Gemstones.
It's really different. Righteous Gemstones is a comedy, and it's a flat-out comedy, and it's got Danny McBride's stink all over it. And I like Danny McBride's stink.
I do too.
So I like Righteous Gemstones, but Winning Time's different. It's very different. It's a big, Sopranos for the longest time was an HBO Sunday night show. So this is a big show. And it's a really, really good show. I think it fits right in with some of those other big Sunday night shows like Sopranos or Deadwood. Or I think could be one of their big, cool names of, hey, you guys remember Winning Time? It's very good. I think it'll go down in history as one of the good HBO series.
So worth noting, also, if you've seen the headlines and stuff, this is the show that ended the friendship between Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. That was kind of a big headlines months ago. Yes, because actually in the initial casting for the show, Michael Shannon was actually cast to play Jerry Buss, who eventually John C. Reilly got cast. Because Michael Shannon ended up leaving the show due to creative differences. Will Ferrell was vocal to Adam McKay about wanting to play the role. And McKay ended up casting John C. Reilly instead of Will Ferrell and didn't tell Will. And McKay has kind of owned it in the deal of it's totally his fault that he had bad communication with Will Ferrell. He handled the whole situation really badly. So he basically, because he casted John C. Reilly over Will Ferrell without telling Will Ferrell. Anyway.
Yeah, when you cast somebody's best friend over them, it is sensitive territory. I get it. And Adam McKay is right for taking responsibility. Now Will Ferrell needs to get over it also.
But I will say this. I thought at first, in the first episode, that John C. Reilly as Jerry Buss was going to be distracting. And it does not take long to get over it. And boy, does he own it and embody it. And he's great in it. He's so good.
Yes.
He's so good.
Is the best I have seen John C. Reilly. I was going to say since Step Brothers, but it's probably the best I've seen John C. Reilly.
Yeah, he's very good at it. I'm really eager to see. I think the show is going to span kind of the whole 80s decade, because they do allude in the first 2 episodes to, they kind of show, I think it's the first episode, shows 1991 and, some of Magic Johnson's, HIV diagnosis, and so, dips into that. So and then this goes back to 79. So really getting into the 80s. And I'm assuming it's going to really span that whole Lakers dynasty era where they won, so many championships. So, I agree with Gary. You do not have to be a fan of basketball. I mean, the first 2 episodes don't have any basketball in it, really. Hardly any at all.
Yeah, so the only basketball is sort of that showdown they have. But I wouldn't really call that basketball. I mean, it's just they're playing basketball while they're having a talk, right? That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's a power struggle with a basketball scene going on in the background.
I actually was late. I put off watching the first episode, and then the second episode came out, so I watched the first 2 episodes here within the past 2 days. And now I'm like, give me the third one, which comes out tomorrow. So as of the time we're recording
I'll watch every single episode of Winning Time either on Sunday when it comes out or the next day on Monday. This will be a show I catch every week.
For sure. And that is all for me that I've been watching. That's a lot of stuff. But I will, I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I will hand the baton to one of you to talk about some of the stuff you've been watching.
Go to Gary. I haven't really watched much.
I was going to pick up with more HBO Max stuff. After Winning Time, just make your way over to Our Flag Means Death.
I hear good things.
So, Our Flag Means Death is a Taika Waititi pirate show on HBO Max.
You got me.
Yeah, it reminds me of my time playing Sea of Thieves, where, of course, I made a great friend, my Swedish friend named Alex. There's a pirate on the boat named the Swede. And so, of course, I was just like, oh shit, the Swedish pirates on my boy. And they're just always doing stupid shit on the ship. So it, again, a little bit more Sea of Thieves for me. So I think the show kind of hits me in a special place. It reminds me of a friend. It reminds me of a game I played. But I love Taika Waititi. His sense of humor is all over this. It's about a gentleman pirate. And he gives up his life being like a nobleman and a gentleman. And he goes and gets a ship and he gets a crew. And they're going to be the best pirates of all time. And they're terrible, but Blackbeard ends up joining their ship and teaches them the ways of piracy, and Blackbeard's played by Taika Waititi. And oh man, you're in for it. The side characters in the show, of course, it's kind of an ensemble show. The entire crew matters. The side character, there's a guy named Bottles, and every time he is on screen, I'm like losing it. He's got a really strong Scottish or Irish accent, and he's like bald on the top and has this long ratty hair and this nasty beard, and he talks to a seagull named Carl. And at night, he takes off his clothes and goes up to the deck to bask in the moon glow. And so it's just bizarre, hilarious. Please check out Our Flag Means Death.
I think I will.
They're releasing the episodes, like I told you guys a couple weeks ago. These streaming services are still trying to figure out how many episodes to release at a time. So I think the first week, 3 episodes came out, and the second week, 3 episodes came out, and then the third week, 2 episodes came out. So there are 8 now. I don't think it's over yet. I think they're maybe pacing for 2 more. But it looks like a show that will keep going in the future. And based on all of Taika Waititi's shows that he does and all of his projects that he does, I wouldn't be surprised for Blackbeard to be written off or killed off in some way. Because it kind of reminds me of What We Do in the Shadows, which is great and hilarious, but eventually Taika Waititi is going to have to go direct another Marvel movie or Star Wars or something. So I don't think he'll stick around. So get in the first season while he's in there. It's good stuff. After that, I have been watching some Netflix. I watched Green Snake on Netflix, which I recommended Green Snake to Jahan, and I'm not sure, like, if you're into, like, you know, if you're one of the tabletop role-playing guys here, or if you're a big boy who's into big imaginations, check out Green Snake. It's an animated movie, like computer animation, kind of a fantasy situation where a Chinese god banishes people to this realm where they have to figure out how to get over themselves, or what has them stuck in their life, or really in their grand karmic scale, where they're always stuck like this reincarnation of themselves, whatever they're hung up on every single time. He banishes to a realm to help you overcome that. And that realm is full of ox-headed demons and horse-headed demons on motorcycles with chains and giant glaives and axes. And the human alliance is like humans and demons and monsters and squid. And they do like Mad Max scenes of combat and gunfighting and sword fighting, and buildings collapse. And there's all this like apocalyptic action destroying the city almost every time they walk out. Like they walk out of a front door and a phoenix that's like 20 miles wide just comes flying over the city, and you see everything behind it just erupting into an inferno, and it's just flying right at them. And so the plot of the movie really isn't very good. The plot of Green Snake is not very good. But it is eye candy, and it is fantasy candy, and it is just so fun to watch. It's just so fun. You could probably mute it and keep it on and just do whatever you're doing that day. It's just cool. Green Snake has a lot of cool action. Making Fun is the next thing I've been watching. And this one is kind of like I would call this the most Gary show on the list, something that you guys may or may not like. I don't know who to recommend it to. But it's a guy who's a professional maker. He was a toy maker in New York City for like 20 years. And he doesn't like kids, but he's a toy maker. It's what he's always done. He helped design the toy that you pull the string and it flies up in the air and spins around like the flying ballerina dancer that came out when we were kids. Yeah. That's one of his more famous toy designs. So he's that guy. Well, he has a crew of guys. He retired. He lives out on a big ranch. He has a crew of guys, and they build stuff. So in the show, they call kids on the phone, and they talk to different kids on like the webcam, and he hates them. Obviously, he is very annoyed by these kids, and his crew is standing there in the background trying not to laugh while he's talking to kids about what they want him to build. And then once they finally come up with something outrageous enough to build, he builds the thing. They build giant, stupid things like a huge rock, paper, scissors machine, and a driving shoe that can shoot a punching glove out the front to hit a soccer ball. They make unicorn bikes and have to race each other. So they make things. They show you how they make things. It's a bunch of guys palling around and being appropriately rude to children who deserve it.
Honestly, that sounds very much up my alley.
Yeah, man, it's really, really fun. It's kind of like Mythbusters-y, right?
Yeah.
Except they're not really doing any real science. They're just kind of building stuff and jacking around.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I forget what show it was, but they would try to make, like, video game stuff happen in real life by making stuff.
So it's almost like if Mythbusters... This is going to make it sound worse, but I promise it's not. Mythbusters and Duck Dynasty combined. Because they're not right-wing conservative.
Surprisingly, I
Right.
actually really liked watching Duck Dynasty.
Right, I liked Duck Dynasty too, except for the last 6 minutes of every episode.
Oh.
But like, it's a bunch of bearded guys building stuff, having fun, that treat each other like family, and they're ribbing each other, and they're having a great time, and it just has that vibe. I like making fun. It's a show on Netflix. You should check it out. It kind of makes you feel good, but it's not like you're signing up for any major investment.
See, that sounds
on
like
any
something me and
show.
Jenny could watch.
Yeah, it is. It's something nice for your brain, right? It's nice and relaxing. Also on Netflix is the Andy Warhol Diaries, which I have started today.
His what?
The Andy Warhol Diaries.
Oh.
It's a docu-series about Andy Warhol. It is all of
Jahan
his...
was making some sort of joke there, but I guess he. Just
I thought he said diarrheas.
Yeah, it was going to be a diarrhea thing. I knew
Oh.
exactly what was happening.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought he said diarrheas. So it
What's
gave
cool
me
about
pause.
What's cool about the Andy Warhol Diaries is that it is narrated by an AI Andy Warhol voice that the Andy Warhol Foundation has approved the use of his words, and then the AI reads the diary. And so it's a lot of stories about him. Of course, he was a huge socialite and one of the biggest artists of the 20th century. And it's a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff about kind of how weird Andy Warhol was, which it was never any secret that Andy Warhol was weird.
I loved him in
Definitely.
Men in Black 3.
And I like docuseries. I like historical docuseries, and if that sounds like something you would like, then you will like it. If you want to look at Andy Warhol's life behind the scenes and what a strange person they were, check it out on Netflix. The last thing I've watched is probably the one I'm most excited about. I've been watching Halo on Paramount Plus. I watched the first episode, and I'm ready to see the second one.
Oh boy.
Let's just say I like the way that some of the stuff looked. It's enough to make me interested to watch the rest of it, but I just don't know where it's going to go from here. But I'm going to keep watching it. We're going to stick with it. We're going to watch episode 2 and report back again.
What was your
next
favorite
week.
part about episode 1?
There were so many parts. You know what I mean? There were so many parts. Probably the one with the warthog. Whenever the warthogs were driving in.
No, I don't
to
remember
the
that
hangar.
scene. When the
With
hangar.
all the warthogs in the hangar.
Oh, okay. Where was that? Was that on
At
Earth?
at the base on Earth with all the warthogs in that military base.
Okay. So far, who's your favorite character?
I'm not a big fan of the main chick, but I do think the black dude is pretty awesome. I'm excited.
Cortana?
No, not Cortana. That white chick scientist.
Oh.
But I think that the military sergeant is he the captain or is he the sergeant? Either way,
I'm
he's
genuinely mad I've let this go on as long as I have already.
he's my favorite.
I'm very happy with this conversation.
By the time this recording comes out, Moon Knight will come out on Wednesday, the 30th.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm very excited for that.
Also, you should watch Ron's Gone Wrong. I just barely talked about it last week.
Ron's Gone Wrong.
It's on Disney Plus. It's kind of like if your iPad was an egg that could follow you around every day at school, and it was how you talked to your friends and played your music and updated your social media, and you just sort of lived through your phone egg. So basically, they're just taking the idea of an iPad and turning it all the way to 10 and showing how bad it would be, sort of for kids and for society. And, make friends, guys. Don't rely on technology.
It sounds
That's
turned to the
immoral.
max, bro.
It is, Jahan. Well said. Check out Ron's Gone Wrong on Disney Plus. I liked it.
So the other things that I've been watching lately that I haven't talked about, obviously, I've been watching Young Justice. I'm on season 3. It's not better the second time around. It's not. I wanted to like it more. I just think it's funny to have a character that like can't die, and so they just keep killing her. Like it's like, come on, like people don't. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But I have been watching a lot of anime. Or trying to. I've caught up on Attack on Titan. This is the final half of the final season going on right now. Super excited to see how it ends. It's been bananas.
Shit.
I think my brother is almost caught up, and my mom is almost caught up. My mom's almost watched all 4 seasons of Attack on Titan as well. She's hooked. I don't. It would be heresy to spoil Attack on Titan because it is kind of a really big deal right now. So I'm not going to do too much of a discussion. But man, the writing. They clearly had direction the entire time. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that you can tell beginning to end, they knew. Like everything, they had it planned. Beautiful, well done. It's so good so far. I can't wait to see.
I once heard the advice that you shouldn't even make a TV show unless you know what your 100th episode special is going to be.
It's fair. Yeah, no, it's really good. And then I caught up on that, so obviously I need something else to watch. I've been like trying to find like another anime. I'm excited for season 4 of Overlord. I really like that show. I like the ones where they're doing video game stuff. So on that note, I decided to check out Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? And so I really like that one as, like, its lore is interesting. Like, it's a real fantasy world that operates kind of with video game rules, but they're not playing a video game. It is their real life. You are you have to join a familia that's run by, like, a goddess. And then they can, like, level you up every day. When you get experience, they can, like, apply it to, like, a tattoo on your back. It's interesting. There is a lot of fan service. And it does kind of get in the way of the story a little bit. But it's fine. And I need more anime. So if anyone has any suggestions, at me on at Rockfact.
I'm glad you said something. I told you I'd let you know, not that you care, but My Hero Academia Season 5 is now out subbed and dubbed. Both. It's subbed and dubbed on Hulu. Both.
And it wasn't out previously.
It wasn't dubbed before. It was subbed before.
Okay, so I've seen it then.
You have seen it. That's why I said.
That's why I don't care. Yeah. No. Well, I'm excited to hear what you think. My Hero Academia is dope. They get a little too hard in the fan service as well, but it is still really cool.
I don't watch much anime, but if there's one that I were to jump into right now, I feel like it would be this one.
My Hero Academia. Yeah, I mean, hey man, it is a Japanese person's view of American superheroes done in an anime. The creator's a big fan of Marvel and DC and all that American comic stuff, and this is what they did, and it's pretty interesting and cool.
I think you should watch, and I think you would like the first 3 seasons. I'm not sure if you would just stay on board forever. It's kind of feels rehashed. Like almost the characters are almost becoming parodies of themselves by season 5. It feels like, but that's a long-term problem. I didn't feel that way 3 seasons in. It's really good, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's great, but watch it. You should watch it. I got Thomas to try again. He said he tried watching it like 3 or 4 times, and finally he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna watch it." You only have to get to like the 3rd episode.
I do like it. I do like it a lot. It is one of my top picks, but I do have a lot of problems with it. That being said, as well.
Yeah, I do. But the thing I particularly like about it is that the main character Midori is learning to use his powers, and early in the first season, he's like breaking his own bones using his powers because he's too strong for his own good.
Yeah.
And that's like a
It is really
continual
cool.
problem, is that he has so much power he can't use it, which is it's a fun problem to have, is you have to watch this kid learn to pull every single punch and every single kick to be a superhero. So whenever shit breaks out, he can kill the bad guy, but he might break his arm or die doing
Or
it.
explode, yeah. If he used his full
so
power, he would like melt.
It's kind of a cool
pretty
power. It's a compelling story for sure, and the characters are sort of sorted into hero level and support level. And so sometimes if you're like, well, that's a dumb power, like they couldn't be a hero, they're probably a support hero, so they have a reason to be there too.
Yeah.
So it lends to massively superpowered people and silly powers existing in the same universe in a fun, positive way.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, I'm looking for some new anime action. I want to get back into the anime life. It's when I'm happiest is when I have an anime to watch. But I mean, that's pretty much all I've been watching. The rest of what I have to talk about is mostly game related. I have been playing more Elden Ring. I would like to talk about it. Elden Ring has become this huge like phenomenon in just a global event. Like everyone's playing it. It has sold like 17. I don't know what. Do you know the numbers, Drew? How many has it sold in America? Like 12 or 17 million or something. Like something ridiculous number. It has.
I don't have those numbers in front of me.
It has.
I feel like every day I get on and I have friends that are playing it on both my PlayStation and on Xbox.
Yeah, it has like a ridiculous amount of concurrent players. It is an event. It is a pop culture event. Like when Pokemon Go came out, man. Everyone knows somebody that has played it or is playing it, and it's a lot of fun. I've fought in a lot more bosses. I got through some of the big bosses. I got to explore some new lands. That game's huge, man. Like just when I think I'm like, oh man, I'm making a dent. Like there's a whole new area. I just found that there's like an underground kingdom that's just absolutely out of control. It's beautiful. It's fun. The boss battles are the best boss battles.
I did hear some players were upset because I guess a recent patch nerfed some characters or things that people were taking advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. They don't want... Because they do... I think they have global rankings and things like that. They don't want to be tan. And there is PvP. So, that's the reason why they do the balances. Obviously, there's no reason to really do game balance when you're playing a single-player game. Maybe fix something that's broken... truly, but yeah, it's mostly because of the PvP and that kind of thing. Elden Ring is great. I recommend it. It is better than any of the Souls games, I think. All the problems that I had with Souls games where you get like stuck somewhere are fixed by the fact this is an open world and you can go wherever you want. You know what I mean? If you get bored, you get stuck on a boss, you can just go somewhere else. Like, it's not a big deal. And it just keeps it flowing. I love it. Here's a fun one, though. Here's a fun game that I bought recently, Drew. The fun one. I bought Timberborn, finally. I talked about it a while ago.
No!
Yeah.
No!
I talked about it a while ago. I bought it. It was on sale. It's in early access. And my little beaver colony is thriving. We just recently had a successful crop of carrots come in and started planting potatoes. That'll get us through those dry seasons.
I heard my little beaver colony is what you call your mound of STD-infested pubic hair.
Mm-hmm. It's the nickname for my fupa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are so gross.
Look, man, you said we had to limit the use of the F word. You didn't say anything about people's STD-infested pubic hair.
It's true. It's true. You gotta give us. I want a list, Drew, because if I can't talk about my pubic hair, I don't know what I'll talk about. But yeah, so
this is the problem, because if I even try to say anything, then it just makes you guys talk about it more. I just can't wait.
Imagine how our wives and girlfriend deal with this.
They think it's funny. But yeah, so that's a lot of the games I've been playing. There's a couple that I want to buy that I haven't, because Elden Ring's been eating up my time. Like Ant Colony Simulator. But I won't talk about that now. So the rest of what I have to talk about is a little board game related. Recently they announced that Villainous, as I've talked about, Gary, you've played and enjoy. They have Marvel Villainous, where you get to play as Marvel villains. They have Disney Villainous. Now they're coming out with Star Wars Villainous. And the starting lineup looks good with Darth Vader and Kylo Ren coming in the first box. I'm excited for this one, like big time. A lot of people are. Villainous is a great franchise.
Who are some of the obscure villains that you would like to pull into that from the Star Wars universe?
I don't
Maybe
know.
not even necessarily obscure. Who are just some villains you?
I mean, I definitely want to see Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to see. I would like to see some of the newer characters, maybe from like the Mandalorian, like the Wookiee. What's his name?
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum. Yeah, I'd like to see Chrysanthemum. That'd be cool. I don't know if it's even right to call him a villain. Boba Fett would be a good one. Jabba would be interesting. I don't think he's in the first set, but it is all about the villains. I think Jabba would be great.
Jabba would be a good one. He could control a bunch of minions and could shoot a bunch of bounty hunters after you.
That'd be good. He'd have like the Rancor pit. It'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But no, this one obviously. I mean, they always build on them. They always talk about more. And today, today.
Why I had to ask. What other characters you want to see? Because they always build on.
They always build on. Actually, one of my favorite pastimes, like at home, is speculating on featured villainous characters, whether it be from Marvel, now Star Wars, or Disney. But yeah, and then the other. So I decided to try and put some more board game stuff in here because I do a lot of board games. And Teen Victory is a place out in the Houston Heights. Where it's a board game cafe. We went there today because they had like a garage sale going on. We got there after the first hour. Apparently all the good stuff was gone in the first 20 minutes. Kind of bummed, but I, should have gotten there sooner. But we did play Calico, which is a quilt making game where cats come and snuggle you. It's a big one. It's one of the ones that, people are like, you should play Calico. Check it out. Like, people won't shut up about it. So, Jenny really wanted to play it. And so, obviously I went and got it, and we sat down. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Did you say it's a quilt building game?
Yeah,
where cats
you're
come and
putting
snuggle
down
you?
quilt tiles. And if you put down, like, certain restrictions of patterns, like, some of the cats are like, if you get 4 of this pattern in a row, the cat will come sit on it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love a game where kittens come.
Dude,
sit on you.
it's actually super chill. It's a super chill game.
Great.
It's a good time, and it's a great family game. I'd play it again for sure. I might even buy it. It's a good one. Yeah, and then this week I had a lot of family in town this week. Well, I guess of the time of the release of this. Yeah, it was last week. But yeah, they recently just left. We've been hanging out. We've been doing a lot of cool stuff. And they just left today.
Did you guys end up watching the any of the Halo show?
No, unfortunately, we were unable to for reasons.
What a shame.
But yeah, that's all I've been up to.
I had forgot to put it on my list, but just while we were talking about games, I actually platinumed and finished Horizon Forbidden West.
Wow.
On PS5.
That's
so
amazing.
I played a lot of it in a lot of my spare time. I put about 60 hours into it. I platinumed it, but my overall completion rate, because there's so much to do in that game, is about 75%. So there's more I could do, but I'm happy to be done with it. Like, I really, really enjoyed it, but I feel like I don't need to go do all these extra side quests. I'm done. I'm maxed leveled. I'm good. I really enjoyed my time with that game. If you like open world games where you fight large robots, this is the one for you. It's pretty fun.
That game's core mechanics to me felt so similar to like Far Cry that I don't know how you could go 100% Far Cry 6 and then turn around and get all the trophies for this. I don't know how you have the patience to do that. I just recently started playing Far Cry 5 and I still am suffering from a little bit of Far Cry fatigue from Far Cry 6.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
you say that, but you just gold carded every card in Monster Train, right?
Don't talk to me about that. Yes, I did actually. Yeah. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
The checkmark system between those two games are very similar in the sense of, go here and do this and uncover more of the map, and that uncovers these different areas you can go to and things. But the gameplay is different enough, with Far Cry being a first-person shooter, and you rely on that, and you're a lot more on your weapons. And I feel like Horizon, as a third-person game, it's a lot more on your tactics. You're a lot more sneaking around, figuring out how you're gonna, take out this group of machines, and it's very, the story is very heavy. I don't know. It's very good, and it's very polished. I really enjoyed it.
I actually do want to play one of the Horizon games. I hear good things.
I know this isn't the traditional thing that we usually talk about, but as far as things that we keep watching, there's one YouTuber who I follow, and video game news. I'm still watching everything that Video Game Donkey puts out. And Donkey, of course, covers a lot of the major titles. So if you guys are looking for a laugh, of course, Donkey will talk about Arceus. Donkey talks about Far Cry, or not Far Cry, but Forbidden West. And usually Donkey will make everything look like a piece of shit unless it's a Nintendo game. So just sign yourself up for that. It's a comedy gaming channel, and I love it. You guys, maybe you want to watch Video Game Donkey if you just want to see somebody shit on every game that you like.
Yeah, I like his stuff.
Yeah, I think that's it for us this week, huh?
That's it for me.
Man, I don't want to go. Okay, fine. Well, thanks everyone for listening. It's always fun doing these. Yeah, I've been Johannan. I'm at RockFact on Twitter, at Johannan1 on TikTok.
The worst part about the podcast is saying goodbye. Goodbye from Casualty CDG. And if you wish to see more of me and Jahan playing tabletop role-playing games, check into twitch.tv/Jahanan every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. We also have a YouTube and a Facebook. It's fresh out the box.
And I'm Drew Munhausen. You can find me at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. Thank you for listening to episode 38 of Fresh Out the Podcast.
And hit us with the hashtag Beaver Colony on Twitter. You guys have yourself a great night. Stay fresh.